Chapter 585. The current Lin Xian did not have the idea of developing gene potions, at least not now. Even if he wanted to, it could only be diluted in small amounts. And he did not have the materials. But there would definitely be in the future. Because Lin Xian needed new things to gain the expectations and love of the people of the mainland. Morongqing said, I can probably find a few dozen 3-star rainbow berries for you. But you will have to pay for it. And the price will not be cheap. No problem. You still have a lot of that 30 billion. Morongqing rolled her eyes. It was still her money, but it was already equivalent to Lin Xian's money. As for the 9-colored spirit lotus, I should be able to get 4 or 5. This kind of spiritual item may not be the best in terms of heaven and earth spiritual energy, but it is rare. There are not many of them in the human race, and most of them are in the demon race. But the demon race is also rare. 4 or 5. A single petal of a 9-colored spirit lotus could be developed into a bottle of gene potion. A single 9-colored sacred lotus could produce 9. But after diluting, it could produce 90. But the effect was naturally not strong, only about 5%. Lin Xian thought that if it was diluted to 5%, then a single 9-colored spirit lotus should be able to produce more than a few hundred. This was still quite impressive. But compared to the others, which were tens of millions, or even hundreds of millions, there was no comparison. But the value was definitely thousands of times higher. However, for those martial artists, even a 1% increase in attribute purity would make them so happy that they wouldn't be able to sleep for 3 days. Between a 1% increase in attribute purity and a 100 points increase in attribute purity, most people would choose the latter. However, those who truly understood would choose the former. 4 or 5, how many can you develop? Morongqing asked. That depends on how much you want to improve. The limit should be 30%. Morongqing revealed a shocked expression. So much? 30%, what kind of concept was that? Lin Xian nodded. But it's too precious, so we'll have to dilute it when the time comes. My idea is to dilute it until it increases by about 5%. But we'll talk about that later. I don't want to do that now. We'll have to use it at a critical moment. Morongqing said, 5% is already very heaven-defying. Basically, from birth to the end, all martial artists will not have any increase in attribute purity. Without that opportunity, even a large family would find it difficult to achieve. Let alone 5%, even 1%. Those people would rather spend an unimaginable price to obtain it. You must know that a 1% increase in attribute purity is very exaggerated for martial artists, especially those with rare attributes. Of course, this increase will only appear when the realm is higher. There is almost no difference between the lower levels. Of course, Lin Xian understood this as well. Therefore, a 5% increase in attributes was already heaven-defying. That. Morongqing suddenly became somewhat bashful. I say, pretty sister, if you have something to say, just say it. This isn't you. Lin Xian said with a smile. Morongqing then looked at Lin Xian and said, even if you don't sell it for the time being, can I ask you to develop a gene enhancement medicine for me? My attribute purity is still considered strong, at 80%, but maybe you can increase it to 100%. For Morongqing, the temptation was simply too great. Just give me the money. Of course, no problem. Morongqing said with surprise. Even if it was 10 billion, 100 billion, if it could increase her attribute purity to 100%, she would be willing. There would not be a second chance in this world. Even if she had to go bankrupt, she would not hesitate. Anyway, she could still earn it back. As for attribute enhancement, this might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. What attribute? Lin Xian asked. At that time, he could use her attributes to experiment and develop gene enhancement medicine. Time. Lin Xian. Damn. Time. You have a time attribute? Lin Xian looked at her in surprise. Morongqing nodded. Yes. Morongqing should be the only time attribute that Lin Xian had seen so far. In Lin Xian's opinion, the time attribute was rarer than the space attribute. Although the level was the same, Lin Xian had seen the space attribute, but he had never seen the time attribute. The fact was indeed so. The time attribute was rarer than the space attribute. It was so rare that it could be counted on one's fingers. You don't believe me? Look. Morongqing pointed outside the window, and then snapped her fingers. Outside the window, the leaves of the trees were blown by the wind. Suddenly, time seemed to be frozen, and the scene froze. A small area, targeted time stop. Lin Xian was used to the space attribute, and it was indeed powerful. But now, he really wanted the time attribute. The time attribute was also very powerful. Amazing. It's okay. It's too difficult to cultivate. But I have the advantage of high attribute purity. In human history, I am the only one with a time attribute purity above 60%. Lin Xian. Amazing. But because of you, I might be able to reach 100%. Morongqing looked at Lin Xian. But 9-colored spiritual lotus, which was the gene enhancement medicine that he developed himself, should not have space and time to improve. In other words, Lin Xian could only use the Adonis system to exchange. He was a little reluctant. 5 million Adonis points. That would be 5 million sets of medicine. If it was diluted by half, it would be 10 million sets. By then, the price of one set would be more than 1,000, right? Damn. That would be 10 billion. Damn. Was he going to exchange it for her just like that? No way. He was reluctant. Let her use 10 billion to buy it. Lin Xian believed that she was willing, but, most importantly, earning 10 billion directly from Morongqing and selling 10 million copies to earn 10 billion were two different concepts. Lin Xian would definitely choose the latter, because he would be able to get more from it. Other than money. To be honest, if I develop it myself, I don't have space and time genetic medicine. Lin Xian said. Morongqing's beautiful eyes flashed with a trace of disappointment, but it was also within her expectations. These two types, as well as the dark and light attributes, although they were all attributes, they were something that couldn't be explained clearly. Unlike water, fire and lightning, which had physical properties darkness, light, space and time. Was this something that could be created with 9-colored spiritual lotus? She felt that it was impossible. Alright, it's not that easy. Morongqing said faintly. I'm going back to sleep. Tomorrow, let's sort out the things here and then go back. Morongqing walked away after finishing her words. When she reached the door, Lin Xian's voice came again. But I didn't say that it can't be improved. Morongqing was stunned for a moment and suddenly turned around. What do you mean? Lin Xian laughed. Although I can't develop it, I have something that I don't need to develop. You can think of it as the main body of the attribute enhancement medicine. Chapter 586. In fact, Morongqing did not have much hope. The time and space attributes were almost impossible to increase on Sky Blue Planet, let alone with potions. So when she heard Lin Xian's words, Morongqing believed him. But when Lin Xian said he could do it Are you playing with me? Morongqing frowned and asked. Why would I play with you? You've helped me so much. If I lie to you, am I still a man? That's true. Then Morongqing smiled and came over. How much? I'll buy it. It's free. Lin Xian said. What? Morongqing was stunned again. She knew how precious this thing was. Lin Xian didn't want money? Then give it to me. Morongqing smiled impolitely. Okay, I said I don't want your money, but I want something else. Lin Xian smiled. He knew it wouldn't be that easy. Morongqing rolled her eyes at Lin Xian. Say it. As long as I have it, I'll give it to you. To Morongqing, this thing was too important. Moreover, when the purity of any attribute reached 100%, there would be a qualitative change. Time was no exception. Perhaps its strength would be greatly increased. It was needless to say that it would increase her strength. It's simple. You have it. What? You have it. Lin Xian said with a smile. Morongqing. Lin Xian did not forget that Morongqing was also his mission target. So, even if he helped, he had to get her, right? Once he got her, Lin Xian would not even ask for money, and would give her the attribute increasing potions. Brother, are you serious? Morongqing rolled her eyes at Lin Xian and said, Yeah, look, you're so beautiful and charming. Wherever you go, people will turn their heads. If I had such a beautiful girlfriend, I would be overjoyed. Morongqing sat on the sofa in Lin Xian's hotel room and poured herself a glass of red wine. You men are really pig trotters. Then she smiled and took a sip. It's normal. This is a man. Lin Xian smiled and sat beside her. Anyway, how should he put it? Morongqing never took Lin Xian's words seriously. Forget it. Didn't you say that you already have Han Chuxue and Linging? No, I remember that Han Chuxue's mother came to Tianhua City specifically for this. You should be her boyfriend, right? Although she didn't dare to believe it, Han Chuxue's mother had come in person. To be honest, she had no choice but to believe it. Moreover, she knew Ouyang Jing and Chen Mo. They were also one of Han Chuxue's suitors in Tiandu. In addition, they were also here. Lin Xian's relationship with Han Chuxue was indeed extraordinary. It's not. Lin Xian touched the tip of his nose. Although he really wanted to admit it, if he did, it would be almost impossible for him to win Morongqing's heart. Therefore, Lin Xian could only continue to be a scumbag. His heart was very uncomfortable, but there was not much he could do. Oh. Morongqing smiled and crossed her legs. She was wearing a knee-length skirt. She would not be exposed, but it made people want to take a look. Morongqing saw Lin Xian's eyes. Where are you looking, little hooligan? If she did not have a favorable impression of Lin Xian, she would be angry. The main thing was that she had a favorable impression of him. She just pouted and rolled her eyes. Then she silently put her legs down. Is this the man you were talking about? Lin Xian touched the tip of his nose. Seriously, I really want the attribute increasing potion. If you really have it, I am willing to spend 10 billion, or even 100 billion. Morongqing looked at Lin Xian seriously and said, But, I said I don't want your money. Morongqing. Could it be that this brat was really thinking about her? She could not say that she had high standards, but her standards were not low either. Anyway, although it looked very tempting, she cared more about her purity than anyone else. Otherwise, she would have been in a relationship until now. She was like Ling Ying and Han Chuxue. However, people who did not know her well would think that she was a loose woman. Go, you dare to tease me? Why? Didn't you tease me often in the past? Lin Xian laughed. Then, how about I accompany you for a night? Morongqing suddenly said seductively. Lin Xian swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Actually, it's not impossible. Let's just do it in this room. What do you think? Morongqing. Go. I am going to sleep. Morongqing rolled her eyes at Lin Xian and stood up. Think about it again. After saying that, she walked away. Lin Xian secretly touched his forehead. What should I do now? Lin Xian had a headache. This Morongqing was a bit difficult to pursue. The main thing was that Lin Xian did not dare to tease her. It was that kind of feeling. Although her favorability had indeed reached 20 points, which wasn't considered low, Lin Xian was very clear about her character. She might seem like a loose person, but in fact, if Lin Xian really went to tease her or take liberties with her, she would most probably be angered and her favorability would be affected. Therefore, he could not be anxious. Anyway, he had already thrown out the olive branch and told her that he had a way to improve her time attribute. She would only be more curious and concerned. That's right, Morongqing was a bit confused. After she returned to her room, she lay on her bed. So annoying. Morongqing punched her pillow. She did not know how long it had been since she acted like a little woman. On one hand, she really wanted to improve her attribute strength. On the other hand, she could not really do what Lin Xian said, right? Lin Xian was not her boyfriend. So could she let him do it? Forget it. Although she felt that this kid was not bad, he was 5 or 6 years younger than her. She did not want to be an old cow eating young grass. She did not care much about a person's family background. She only cared about whether she liked it or not. Because her family background was already heaven-defying, and her family did not care about her love life. As long as she liked it, it was fine. The key was that she had not met anyone that she liked. But really, Lin Xian seemed to be the first person of the opposite sex that she wanted to interact with in all these years. This was because there was something special about him that she had never seen before. This young man always did not play by the rules. Most importantly, there was something about him that she could not see through. There was a saying that when a girl started to be curious about a guy, that was the beginning of her fall. Yes, she was starting to be curious, but it was a bit difficult for her to accept it. In short, now it all depended on Lin Xian's methods. The one who was suffering the most now was that Liao Jian. What was going on? He had spent so much time cultivating his relationship with Morong Qing, but he had not even touched her hand yet. He still had to help with things. This was the most King unbearable. For the next day, they continued to stay in Linen City and did almost all the things that needed to be done. Morong Qing made a few phone calls in Linen City, the surrounding cities, and even further places. She bought a large amount of raw materials and then transported them to the big warehouse in Linen City. Morong Qing's channels were still amazing. She had people in every city. Anyway, she only needed to make a few phone calls. Now they only needed to transport the equipment, and they could start operating. At 1 o'clock in the middle of the night, Lin Xian received a call from Ling Ying. Tianhua City has fallen. Chapter 587. Lin Xian almost dropped his phone. Tianhua City had fallen? Hello. What's the situation? Lin Xian hurriedly asked. Ling Ying also said anxiously, I don't know. Suddenly, a large number of beasts swarmed in. There were already many experts guarding outside, but the appearance of the beasts was too sudden. Suddenly, an unimaginable number of beasts surrounded Tianhua City. There was no time to defend. In just a few minutes, the barrier was broken, and the beasts swarmed into Tianhua City. It was already impossible to defend. I only found out after being woken up. Lin Xian's heart sank. Ling Ying, protect little fairy well. I'll go back now. I know. Then, Lin Xian hurriedly hung up the phone. Tianhua City had fallen. This was something Lin Xian never expected. But, he should have thought of it earlier. The disappearance of the beasts was a sign of something. However, how did these demonic beasts suddenly appear in every corner of Tianhua City, without any warning? No one could understand. If they didn't appear in large numbers, how could such a well-guarded place fall in an instant? And the beginning of a city's fall was when the beasts swarmed into the city. When the beasts swarmed into the city, it was basically already fallen. It was almost impossible to fight back. At that time, the people's hearts would crumble. And in the city, there were too many people and it was too chaotic. Human martial artists were afraid of hurting the civilians and didn't dare to go all out. But the beasts didn't have to worry. Perhaps Lin Xian had already thought of this, but it was too sudden. It was really too sudden. Lin Xian thought that they would have to fight no matter what. But he never expected that within a few minutes, the barrier would be broken, and the beasts would enter Tianhua City. Tianhua City should be gone. Now Lin Xian probably didn't care about this. He was only worried about everyone's safety. Nothing must happen. Whoosh! Lin Xian rushed to Ling Longyue's room and released his spatial attribute to enter. Ling Longyue was lying on the bed. She didn't look like a lady at all. She was sleeping soundly. Get up, get up. Lin Xian patted her back and Ling Longyue flipped over, smacked her lips and went back to sleep. Lin Xian. No, wasn't this expert very vigilant? His divine sense was very strong. What could he sense from far, far away? Why didn't she wake up? Pa. Lin Xian used a lot of strength this time, mainly because he was too anxious. Ling Longyue sat up abruptly, her sleepy eyes half opened as she looked at Lin Xian. When he saw Lin Xian, he suddenly opened his eyes. Bastard. Die. A surge of power condensed subconsciously. No, no, no. I have something to do. It's urgent. Lin Xian said anxiously. Ling Longyue then quieted down. It was mainly because she saw that Lin Xian's expression was indeed very anxious. Tianhua City has fallen. Ah. Ling Longyue was puzzled. A large number of demonic beasts have attacked Tianhua City. Tianhua City has already fallen. Ling Longyue frowned slightly. You humans are so weak. Don't you have so many experts protecting you? Lin Xian shook his head. I don't know the details. It was just a few minutes ago. In just a few minutes, it has already fallen. I have to go back now. I'll send you back. Lin Xian nodded. He came to find Ling Longyue because of her space attribute. She could bring them back faster. Wait, I'll call Morongqing. Although it was urgent, he couldn't be in a hurry. Morongqing had the time attribute. She must be a powerful expert. With her help, Lin Xian was confident. At least, he was confident that he could protect everyone. This time Lin Xian wasn't in a hurry. He used his phone to call Morongqing. She picked up almost instantly. Hello. Before Lin Xian could say anything, a voice came from the other side. I heard. I'll wait for you at the entrance of the hotel. Morongqing hung up after saying that. Obviously, she was more well-informed than Lin Xian. Then, Lin Xian brought Ling Longyue to the entrance of the hotel. Morongqing was already standing there. Let's go. Then the three of them disappeared from the spot. The continuous space jump allowed them to arrive outside Tianhua City in a short period of time. Oh my god! Morongqing was shocked when she saw this scene. To be honest, she had never experienced such a situation before. She had only heard of it and seen it before. This was the first time she saw it so clearly. She was still shocked. In her line of sight, the demonic beasts were so dense that it was hard to imagine. The battlefield was no longer outside Tianhua City. Instead, it was inside Tianhua City. The demonic beasts had already attacked inside. These demonic beasts were pouring in large numbers. Only God knew what was going on inside. Lin Xian frowned. Do you want to follow me? Lin Xian asked Morongqing. Morongqing nodded. I'll follow you. Thanks. Then Lin Xian looked at Ling Longyue. Ling Longyue roughly understood Lin Xian's meaning. Then, the three of them disappeared from the spot and appeared in Ling Ying's house. Xiao Xian. At home, Ling Ye and Ling Ying were still there. When they saw Lin Xian, Ling Ye quickly ran over and hugged Lin Xian. It's okay, it's okay. Lin Xian patted her back. What's the situation now? Lin Xian asked Ling Ying. Ling Ying said, everything happened too suddenly, and it's late at night. We were completely unprepared. Even now, we don't know how the large number of demonic beasts did it. It's like a spatial teleportation, sending a large number of them out of Tianhua City. We didn't have time to defend and fell. Lin Xian walked to the window and looked out. The crowd was densely packed and screaming as they tried to escape. The cars couldn't move at all. Some of them even knocked into people in other cars. It was total chaos. The demonic beasts had yet to attack, but there were already a few flying demonic beasts in the sky attacking the humans. Some even came out from the ground. In short, this time, the number of casualties in Tianhua City was probably the highest in history. It was late at night, and everyone was sleeping. They were completely unprepared. The three major forces didn't even have time to notify them. The demonic beasts attacked the city in a few minutes. In such a situation, it was like a super earthquake in the middle of the night. A large number of reinforcements would require a lot of time. Even if they came, it would be difficult. Ling Longyue, do you have enough spiritual energy? Ling Longyue nodded. It's just a few 100 kilometers of spatial jump. It won't take much. Then I'll have to trouble you to send them back to our hotel. Ling Longyue nodded. I won't go first. Send Sister Lin Ye over first. Ling Ying looked at Lin Ye and said to Lin Xian. Lin Xian hesitated for a moment. Ling Ying definitely wanted to fight. Okay. Lin Xian then looked at Lin Ye and said, Little fairy, let Ling Longyue send you to Linen City first. Chapter 588. Ling Ye bit her lips. Xiao Xian. Don't worry, Ling Ying and I will try our best to fight for it. Even if Tianhua City might fall, we still have to try. If we can save one more person, we'll save one more second. Don't worry, I'll do what I can. You don't have to worry about your safety. Go back and have a good rest. I'll be back in the morning. Ling Ye knew that no matter what she said to Lin Xian, he wouldn't listen. She wasn't the kind of person who would cry and throw a tantrum. She knew that her existence would only restrict Lin Xian's actions. You must be careful. Xiaoying, you all must be careful. They nodded, and then Ling Longyue and Lin Ye disappeared. Lin Xian looked down at the chaotic scene outside with a frown. Morongqing didn't know what to say, so she just stood there and watched with him. Ling Ying came to Lin Xian's back and pulled on his clothes. Lin Xian, what do you want to do now? Lin Xian said. The battle at the edge of Tianhua City must have already started. Maybe we don't have the qualifications to go there. It's too chaotic, and we can't do anything. What we can do is to try and buy more time for the people who are escaping. There were people from the 3 major forces evacuating here. But they couldn't make it in time to deal with the unprepared people in the city. It was too chaotic. When a disaster broke out, it would be like this. Morong Qing walked over and drew a circle on the window. This is Tianhua City. The edge is the largest battlefield. Even if it suddenly fell, a large number of martial artists have already gathered their forces. She then pointed at an area and said, "This is the center of Tianhua City, which is where we are. Relatively speaking, it's still relatively safe. The main thing is that the counties outside of Tianhua City have probably been completely attacked by demonic beasts. That's not the main battlefield. After the main battlefield, there will be many demonic beasts, and the casualties will be very heavy. If you want, those places can be considered. Let's go and gather everyone. They probably don't want to leave." Lin Xian's phone kept ringing. "Lin Xian." Lu Yufan's frightened voice could be heard. Lin Xian said, "You live with Yi, right?" Where are you now? Hurry up and run." Lu Yufan said fearfully. Lin Xian then said, "Gather your family, Yi and Yi's family, as soon as possible. I will bring a friend and rush over immediately to send you all to Lin'an City." "Then what about you? Don't ask, just do it." Then, Lin Xian hung up and called Wang Xintong. She was at home now. "Wait for me at home. Don't go out yet. I want to fight." Wang Xintong bit her lip and said, "Yes, I know. I'll guide you." Lin Xian then called Miao Xiaomiao. They all wanted to fight, but Yi and Lu Yufan couldn't. Their realms weren't high enough. Absolutely not, so they had to leave. There was also Xiao Runing. Lin Xian called her, but she didn't pick up. Miss Xiao might have gone to the front line, or fighting in a county near the border. Ling Ying said softly. Lin Xian believed in Xiao Runing's strength, but in such a battle, even a domain realm cultivator might not be able to survive. It was not a problem if they wanted to run, but if they wanted to keep fighting, then it might not be so. A domain realm cultivator couldn't beat 1,000 mystic heaven realm cultivators. Of course, that was just a saying. After all, a domain realm cultivator could still release a big move to kill a large number of monsters. But what if they didn't have enough spiritual power? Other than them, Lin Xian didn't seem to have anything to pay attention to, right? There was also Han Chuxue. She didn't need to think too much. They must be together. Zhang Tian and Wang Fugui were both in Tianhua City. With their ability and family background, it was definitely not a problem for them to escape. As for the others, they should be fine. If the ones he was worried about were safe, Lin Xian would be relieved. The rest were those who had the ability to fight for humanity. With them together, Lin Xian would be relieved. "Lin Xian, I've thought about it. I'll go to the front line. I'm the law enforcement officer of the Sacred Palace. I have an obligation." Morong Qing looked at Lin Xian and said. Lin Xian nodded. "Okay, you must pay attention to your own safety." Morong Qing laughed. "Why? Are you worried about me?" "Of course. Protect yourself well. With that heavenly venerable powerhouse, I'm relieved. Let's go." Then Morong Qing walked out. "Chuxue is already on her way." Ling Ying said softly. "Yes, everyone needs to do something, even if it's dangerous." Ling Longyue probably wouldn't help them fight, because she was a demon. She was neutral, but she would at least protect Lin Xian and the others. At least we can do something. Looking at the chaotic scene outside, to be honest, anyone would be worried. Children's cries, women's screams, helpless cries. Ling Longyue's figure appeared. "Who else?" Ling Longyue asked. "There are still a few friends. I'll bring you there." Ling Ying, wait here first. Then, the two of them disappeared and appeared in the villa where Lu Yufan and the others were. There weren't many people in the villa. Those people quickly drove away. "Old Lu, why aren't you running? Hurry up and leave." A car stopped in front of Lu Yufan's villa. A person poked his head out and said hurriedly, "You guys go first. I don't know what you guys are waiting for. Hurry up and leave. In less than 2 hours. I'm afraid a large number of demon beasts will attack our Tianhua city." Lu Yufan's father Lu Yun said, Old Zhao, you go first. Then I'll go. Then the car sped away. Old Lu. Another voice came. Yi Nantian brought Yi Yi and Yi Yi's mother over. Old Yi. Lin Xian told us to wait here, didn't he? Yi Nantian asked. Lu Yan nodded. Yes. Although they didn't know what Lin Xian wanted to do, they admired Lin Xian. Plus, their daughter strongly wanted to believe in Lin Xian. So they really waited. Sigh. I didn't expect Tianhua City to have such a day. It's too sudden. Yi Nantian sighed. Lu Yan nodded. Yes, it's too sudden. Maybe this day will come sooner or later. But with such a degree of suddenness, I'm afraid the casualties in Tianhua City will be unimaginable. But how is Lin Xian going to help us? Could it be that he has the transportation of the three major forces? This was their guess. They felt that it was most likely. If it was the transportation of the three major forces, it would be quite safe. Now, the three major forces were using a large number of transportation to bring the refugees away. But there were too many people. Tianhua City had millions of people. It was impossible for them to make it in time. Shua, Lin Xian and Ling Longyue arrived. Chapter 589. Lin Xian. Lu Yufan and Yi Yi were pleasantly surprised when they saw Lin Xian. Lin Xian was worried about them, and they were also worried about Lin Xian. Lu Yin and his wife and Yi Nantian were also surprised when they saw Lin Xian. How did the two of them get here? Space attribute? That's right. Space attribute. Lin Xian walked over and quickly said, I'll ask my friend to send you guys away first, Ling Longyue. Ling Longyue nodded. Lin Xian, are you saying you'll let her go? Yi Nantian thought he heard wrongly. How is that possible? Lin Xian said, she has the space attribute and is very strong. She can send you guys to Linen City in a short time. Once you guys are there, you will be safe. Yi Nantian and Lu Yun were shocked. That was a few hundred kilometers. Yes, now that the civilians were escaping from Tianhua City, they still had to go through the beast territory, which was a few hundred kilometers away. That area might not be as dangerous and chaotic as the beast territory, but it might still be very dangerous. They might even lose their lives there. After all, most of the civilians were not strong enough. Lin Xian, what about you? Lu Yufan asked worriedly. I'll stay here and help. If you guys aren't strong enough, don't follow. Lin Xian knew what Lu Yufan wanted to say. Then be careful. Lu Yufan said worriedly. Yi Yi also said be careful. Lin Xian nodded. Yi Nantian walked over and patted Lin Xian's shoulder. Do what you can. I know. Let's go. Ling Longyue sent them away. Without Ling Longyue, Lin Xian really didn't know what to do. Not long after, Ling Longyue appeared beside Lin Xian again. Lin Xian, I can help you save people, but I can't help you humans fight demonic beasts. Ling Longyue was afraid that Lin Xian would misunderstand, so she explained to Lin Xian. In the past, she wouldn't have cared about Lin Xian's thoughts and opinions. Lin Xian nodded. I understand. Thank you. Ling Longyue shook her head. I'm only in the celestial venerable realm. The difference in strength between the celestial venerable realm and the great virtual realm is more than 100 times. The only thing I can do is to bring a small number of people away and achieve a space jump of a few hundred kilometers. If my sister was here, she could easily send tens of thousands of people to Linen City. Lin Xian rubbed his forehead. It's a pity that she's not back yet. That's right, if Ling Longyue was here, she could easily send a lot of people away. If my sister was here, she could open up one or even a few space wormholes and send people directly to Linen City. But I can't. Ling Longyue also wanted to help Lin Xian and these humans. In the past, she didn't care about it, but during this period, she realized that she liked this place. She didn't want this place to be destroyed, but she could only save people. But she couldn't openly attack the demonic beasts. This was a different concept. Lin Xian was also very satisfied. After sending Lu Yufan and the others away, under normal circumstances, Ling Longyue was one of the demonic beasts. She was attacking the humans, but now she was helping the humans. Lin Xian was very satisfied. I don't know how these demonic beasts suddenly appeared. This was Lin Xian's biggest headache. If they continued to appear, Tianhua City would have no chance of being defended. Actually, even if it fell, it would be fine as long as fewer people died. Actually, I can roughly guess. Ling Longhua looked at Lin Xian and said, "What?" Lin Xian hurriedly asked. "I couldn't guess it in the past, but with everything that happened tonight, it's likely that the Myriad Demon Alliance gathered a large number of demonic beasts together. It's very likely that they use spatial properties to gather them in places that you humans can't detect. When the numbers reached a certain number, they used spatial powers to teleport all of them to the surroundings of Tianhua City. This also resulted in the sudden appearance of large numbers of demonic beasts, making it impossible to guard against. But, other than you void foxes, are there any other demonic beasts that can control space?" Ling Longhua shook her head. "Almost none. There are some that can control space, but they are definitely inferior to us void foxes. Even my sister can't teleport such a large number of demonic beasts to a certain place. To be able to do so, it has to be at the Heavenly Dao Realm. But in my impression, there are Heavenly Dao Realm demonic beasts, but there aren't any spatial demonic beasts at the Heavenly Dao Realm. Then I have a rough idea. The only thing that can make me think of this is Void Heavenly Crystal. Furthermore, it's a spatial wormhole condensed from a large number of Void Heavenly Crystals." Lin Xian pondered slightly. "That also means that there might be a spatial wormhole condensed from a large number of Void Heavenly Crystals near the Myriad Demon Alliance. Then, these demonic beasts would constantly appear outside Tianhua City, saving us a lot of time in attacking. It might even prevent us from seeing them. Normal humans would be able to detect any abnormalities when the demonic beasts gathered a few hundred kilometers away. There would be spies of the human race there. At that time, the human race would be able to defend in time. They could even pull the battle line to tens, or even tens of kilometers away from Tianhua City. However, the demon race had been scheming. They knew this and thus chose such a method. It had to be said that they were truly insidious, but they had indeed achieved their goal. It must be the Void Heavenly Crystal. I remember that back in the Myriad Demon Alliance, I noticed that they were collecting large amounts of Void Heavenly Crystals. However, Void Heavenly Crystals are extremely rare. This is probably the result of the Myriad Demon Alliance's decades of collection," said Ling Longhua. "That also means that if they still have Void Heavenly Crystals in their hands, just like in Tianhua City, then in the future, the Myriad Demon Alliance can launch a sudden attack in Lin City and all other cities?" Ling Longhua nodded. F***CK. Lin Xian scratched his head. "Then it's over. Even if they knew, what could they do? Every day, every moment, every second, millions of people were guarding outside the city? That was impossible. However, if they didn't do that, and a large number of demonic beasts continued to appear, there would be incidents similar to Tianhua City, happening one after another. Cities would fall one after another at an extremely fast speed. What can we do?" Lin Xian asked. "Yes, destroy the Void Heavenly Crystal. As long as it's destroyed, the Myriad Demon Alliance won't be able to find so many Void Heavenly Crystals for at least a few decades. At least for a few decades, the Myriad Demon Alliance won't be able to launch a sudden attack like this again." Lin Xian rubbed his chin and revealed a worried expression. "How do we destroy it?" "It's very simple. Just bombard it with enough power. The Void Heavenly Crystal is just a crystal. It should be possible to do it with the power of a Heavenly Venerable, but..." Lin Xian said. "But where is the Void Heavenly Crystal? Even if we find it, it's a problem whether we can destroy it alive, right?" Chapter 590. Ling Longhua slowly paced and nodded with a worried expression. "That's right. The Heavenly Void Crystal is naturally very important. If I'm not mistaken, and I've seen the Heavenly Void Crystal in the Myriad Demon League, the Heavenly Void Crystal must be set up near the Myriad Demon League. It's impossible for humans to appear in the Myriad Demon League, so there's a high possibility that it's there. And that's the Myriad Demon League. The Heavenly Void Crystal is very important. Even if it's the Myriad Demon League's territory, there must be experts guarding it," Lin Xian said. Ling Longhua nodded her little head. Okay, I got it. We'll see if there's a chance later. Let's evacuate the civilians first. The lives of the civilians had nothing to do with Lin Xian, but they were humans. Every death meant one less person who could fight against the demon clan in the future. If too many people died, it would weaken the morale of the human race. Moreover, as long as one was a normal human, who would be willing to see people die for no reason? Ling Longyue took Lin Xian to pick up Wang Xintong first, then went to the bounty hunter guild together because Miao Xiaomiao was there. Lin Xian. Miao Xiaomiao hurried over when she saw Lin Xian. Where's everyone? Lin Xian asked. Uncle Ba and Sister Qianqian went to fight. Chu Meng and the others haven't even reached the profound heaven realm, so they retreated with their families for the time being. Lin Xian nodded. Lin Xian. Miao Jinghao walked over. Grandpa Miao. Xiao Miao insisted on fighting. I can't stop her. I'll leave her to you. Lin Xian nodded. Don't worry, leave it to me. Grandpa Miao. I'll ask my friends to send you to Lin City first. Miao Jinghao shook his head. No need. You don't have to worry about my safety. I have some connections with the three major forces. Miao Xiaomiao nodded at Lin Xian. Although Lin Xian was still worried, since Miao Xiaomiao was assured, Lin Xian had nothing to say. Let's go then. Miao Jinghao quickly reminded them. Remember, don't go to the main battlefield. There are probably tens of millions of monster beasts and humans there. And there are also countless Law Realm monster beasts, including Grand Dominion Realm and Heavenly Venerables. A battle between those powerhouses can destroy a huge area with just a wave of their hand. Don't go there. That's the main battlefield of the three great forces, and there are also many powerhouses from the three great forces guarding it. Your limit is the various large cities behind the main battlefield. There are also many monster beasts there, and the civilians are being slaughtered by the monster beasts. Lin Xian nodded. I understand. Let's go. Then, they disappeared on the spot and arrived at the house. Inside the house, Ling Ying and Han Chushue were anxiously sitting on the sofa. There was still a sea of people outside. Cars couldn't move at all, and bicycles couldn't be ridden. It was too crowded, and it was chaos. It was so chaotic that families had to flee together. When they were pushed by the crowd, they could only watch helplessly as their family members disappeared from their sight. They couldn't find them anymore, as they were drowned in the sea of people. Big sister Ling Ying. Miao Xiaomiao shouted when she saw Ling Ying. Ling Ying nodded. This is Xian Tong. Lin Xian gave a brief introduction. Han Chushue stood up, and everyone looked at Lin Xian. Han Chushue, Ling Ying, Lin Xian, Miao Xiaomiao, Wang Xintong and Ling Longyue. This was their lineup. Of course, Miao Xiaomiao couldn't attack the demonic beasts, but she could protect their safety. Lin Xian then said, let's go to Yunhai County. Their strength and numbers were limited, so they could only do what they could. Okay, we'll listen to you. Lin Xian then said, Dark Ice Wind my space and Xian Tong's water and light. Our combined combat strength shouldn't be weak. At the very least, we should be able to protect a lot of people and help them escape safely. Let's do what we can. What about the main battlefield? Han Chushue asked. Lin Xian shook her head. That's not a place we can go. Then she nodded. Let's move together and take care of each other. Ling Longyue, I'll give you the coordinates. Send us to Yunhai County. Okay. In the next instant, all of them disappeared and appeared outside of Yunhai County. Around them, the densely packed citizens of Yunhai County fled towards the center of Tianhua City. After all, the demonic beasts came from outside, and there were very few demonic beasts in these areas. Only a small number of them went deeper. The people from the three major factions hurriedly evacuated them, and the cars sped away, as if they could survive if they ran for a second longer. Looking at the distant sky in the direction of Yunhai County, it was originally night, but Yunhai County was exceptionally bright. It was all fire. Buildings were on fire, and people were screaming and crying in despair. Even further away, there were occasional explosions, and even the ground was shaking. Terrifying forces were intertwining, and that was a battle between experts. It was unknown how many people had died in such a battle. Tianhua City was the center of the city, and the chaos was only caused by the people. Yunhai County was close to the edge of Tianhua City, and it was close to the main battlefield. Many demonic beasts had already rushed here, and it was even more chaotic. It was a real disaster. Heaven could imagine what the situation in Yunhai County was like. The main thing was that it was late at night, and everything was too sudden. That was why it was so chaotic. Lin Xian and the rest went against the flow and headed towards Yunhai County. Those over there, Yunhai County is very dangerous. Quickly follow the citizens and retreat under the leadership of the three major factions. Someone saw Lin Xian and the rest and quickly shouted, "Uncle, we are martial artists. We should help the human race." Miao Xiaomiao said, "Martial artists? Be careful." Yes. Then they sped away. There were not as many people in Yunhai County as there were outside. It seemed that most of the people had retreated. The entire street was filled with people fleeing in all directions. The martial artists, including the members of the three major factions, were fighting with all kinds of demonic beasts. Lin Xian then said, "This is the main road of Yunhai County, and it is also the largest street. Most people would choose to escape through this wide road. Let's first block this road, and then follow the other martial artists." Okay. Whoosh. Then they took out their spiritual weapons and rushed forward. Demonic beasts died under their hands, and Ling Longyue used her spatial attribute to protect them. At the same time, she teleported the people who were being chased by the demonic beasts to a safe place. 5 Thunder Celestial Phenomenon. In front of them, 2 huge black spiders moved quickly on the wall, rushing towards a family of 3. The family of 3 hid behind a car, but they were obviously discovered by the demonic beasts. Boom! The lightning struck just as the demonic beasts were about to attack them. The demonic beasts were sent flying. "Hurry up and leave!" Lin Xian shouted at them, and then continued to rush forward. There were many martial artists like them. And it was not only the members of the 3 major factions who were fighting. This was also a blessing in disguise. Chapter 591. Time ticked by. Lin Xian and the others were still quite strong. They had protected many civilians and killed many demonic beasts while they were escaping. However, it seemed like they killed a lot, but compared to the entire horde of beasts, it was only 1 in 100,000. The surrounding civilians retreated, while those who couldn't were killed by the beasts. They didn't dare to leave their homes after seeing this scene. However, they would still die sooner or later. Martial artists and members of the 3 major forces had also suffered heavy casualties. Even here, there were corpses everywhere, not to mention the brave warriors who were still tenaciously defending the border. In the surroundings, some monster beasts would even ignore their existence and quickly attack the retreating civilians. Their bodies were more or less stained with blood. Of course, it was all from the beasts. Retreat! Everyone retreat! Retreat quickly! In front, more than 10 martial artists who came to fight on their own accord ran over and shouted, "What's wrong?" Lin Xian stopped one of them. A group of beasts broke through the defense line and are about to reach here. The civilians of Yunhai County are almost all evacuated. We don't have any reinforcements here. Let's avoid them and wait for reinforcements. How many? 3 to 5,000. Including us. The members of the 3 major forces don't have as many beasts as we do. Moreover, the members of the 3 major forces need time to gather here. Hurry up and run. After saying that, those people ran away. Just as they ran away, Lin Xian and the rest saw a black mass of beasts rushing over from afar. At the front was a battle between millions of beasts and humans. In a battle of this scale, a large number of beasts could take advantage of the chaos and rush in. This was a very normal thing. 99% of the members of the 3 major forces were fighting at the front lines. The remaining few were scattered in various counties. Their main purpose was to evacuate and protect the people. Tianhua City could fall, but the people had to be protected. They had to do their best to protect their lives. There had been constant fighting and deaths here. Evacuating the crowd, protecting the crowd to the center of Tianhua City, and then escaping. Therefore, there weren't many members of the 3 major factions in these county cities. Most of them were actually martial artists. Lin Xian. Wang Xintong looked at Lin Xian. The others were also looking at him. Let's fight. Lin Xian's body flickered with lightning. Hearing Lin Xian's words, they were pleasantly surprised. They also wanted to fight. Whoosh! Han Chuxue and Ling Ying were the first to rush up. Then Lin Xian and Miao Xiaomiao followed. Wang Xintong's attack power was not as strong as theirs, but the power of light and water was not weak either. Behind them, the people who were preparing to retreat suddenly stopped when they saw these people rushing towards the black mass of demonic beasts. Weren't they just sending themselves to their deaths? Whoosh! Han Chuxue was the first to rush in. The surrounding air was extremely cold, and everything had turned into a world of ice and snow. 90% of the densely packed demonic beasts were frozen. Obviously, this was Han Chuxue's ultimate move, mainly because most of the demonic beasts weren't that strong. She was now in the lightning tribulation realm, and most of the demonic beasts were around the arcane body realm. If there were a large number of them, with absolute strength, they could release area martial arts techniques. No matter how many there were, as long as the area was large enough, there would be no problem. Thunderclap transformation. Lin Xian released the Earth-class 10-star martial arts technique that Han Chuxue's mother gave him. Thunderclap transformation. Boom! Above the night sky, a thundercloud actually gathered. Then, dense thunderbolts bombarded down, as if they were going through a lightning tribulation. The frozen demonic beasts in front of them were indiscriminately bombarded. Ling Ying's figure turned into a ghost, constantly flickering among the demonic beasts. Wherever he went, the demonic beasts fell to the ground. Hurricane rolling waves. Miao Xiaomiao's petite figure rushed in, bringing along a violent tornado, and the demonic beasts were all swept into the air. Dazzling earth. A dazzling light flashed in the air, and the surface of the demonic beasts were directly cracked by the strong light, then half melted, and killed in an instant. Everyone at the back opened their mouths wide. These people had such strong combat strength. Ling Longshui actually wanted to help, but she knew that once someone found out, her and her sister Ling Longshui's situation would become very, very bad. This also meant that the Void Fox was no longer neutral, but a friend of humanity, on the side of humanity. Whoosh! Not long after, Lin Xian and the rest killed the demonic beasts one after another. Thousands of demonic beasts, under such a large area of effect martial arts, were easily killed without too high a level. It was just that their spiritual power was depleted too quickly. Take a break here. Lin Xian threw some food to each of them. Their physical strength and spiritual power consumption were too severe. If they had unlimited spiritual power, they could unleash powerful martial arts techniques without limit. But that was impossible. When the people at the back saw this scene, they all rushed over. Are you Lin Xian? Since they chose to participate in the battle, it proved that they wanted to protect everyone with their own strength. But it was reasonable for them to run. If they couldn't win, they couldn't just throw their lives away, right? But now, Lin Xian and the rest had killed thousands of demonic beasts, so they had the courage to come back. If it was in the past, they wouldn't have been able to do it. But now, Lin Xian and Han Chuxue were in the lightning tribulation realm. Ling Ying had also reached the lightning tribulation realm in tonight's battle, and Miao Xiaomiao and Wang Xintong were in the upper levels of the mysterious heaven realm. Their combat strength was combined with high-level martial arts techniques, so naturally, they weren't weak. The main battlefield should be 20 kilometers ahead. Lin Xian looked ahead. The people here were almost all evacuated, and only a few demonic beasts had rushed out. But these demonic beasts, even without them, the other martial artists could deal with them. The main problem was the front line. If the front line was completely lost, what would it mean? Millions of demonic beasts would rush over like a tidal wave. And at that time, it would be completely unstoppable. Of course, the few of them weren't strong enough. But now, if they wanted to realize their value, the best choice was the front line. But the front line was very dangerous. Ling Longyue, can you try to go to the Myriad Demon Alliance? Lin Xian asked. Ling Longyue bit her lips and shook her head. No, my realm might seem high, but if I go to the Myriad Demon Alliance, any random person in there would be stronger than me. It's almost impossible for you to destroy the void heavenly crystal. Lin Xian revealed a worried expression. But if they didn't destroy it, the demonic beasts would constantly replenish the front line, and it would definitely be lost. Moreover, my spatial power might not be useful if I encounter a very strong existence. Ling Longwei said. Lin Xian, the people in the border counties have basically been evacuated, and the demonic beasts are scattered, so they won't be able to do much. The main problem is the front line. Ling Ying looked at Lin Xian. The front line, could they go? They wanted to go, and so did Lin Xian, but... Chapter 592. Once the front line was lost, it meant that Tianhua City had truly fallen. It was true that there were many beasts that had entered Tianhua City and killed many people. There were probably no less than 100,000 dead. However, the real beast army was still blocked by the humans. At the edge, there were millions of them. The humans were constantly increasing their numbers, and so were the demons. As for whether they could hold on, Lin Xian really didn't have much confidence. Because of the void heavenly crystal, the beasts were increasing their numbers too quickly. However, the danger was similarly great. Lin Xian really wanted to go. It was obvious that all of them wanted to go. But for safety, powerhouses were all honed from battle after battle. Lin Xian gritted his teeth. All right, then let's go. Hearing Lin Xian's words, the girls were surprised. Wasn't this the meaning of their existence? They believed that other than everyone, there would be more people who would bravely go to the front line. Of course, there might be more people who would escape. However, the humans weren't protected by the three major forces, but by each of them. In the end, even if Tianhua City fell, they had fought and done their best. They had a clear conscience. But, Lin Xian looked at them. Just do your best. Be careful. Understood. Ling Ying smiled. On the battlefield, it was impossible for them to stay together all the time. Then Lin Xian said, let's fight together first. If anything happens, Ling Ying, Yu Chuxue, and Ling Longyue should be together. I'll take little Miao and Xintong. Alright. Then a few figures rushed to the main battlefield. When they arrived at the edge of Tianhua City, they were unprecedentedly shocked. At a glance, there were all kinds of demonic beasts. It was a sea of people, and the power that erupted was simply unprecedented. It was the kind of place where if you entered, you might not even be able to tell the direction in the next second. In any case, you just had to look around. If you saw any demonic beasts, you would attack. That was the only way. There was no strategy, but if you were careless and fell, or if you were knocked down, you might not be able to stand up again. Lin Xian believed in the strength of Ling Ying and the others, but this kind of scene was terrifying. It was too chaotic. Above the void, in the distance even further away, and even near, was the battlefield of the strong. Basically, the main battlefield did not see strong existences killing large groups of people, because once they appeared, there would be strong human experts targeting them, pulling the battlefield away from the crowd. Otherwise, in the battle between them, they could casually release martial arts techniques and kill a large number of people. The battlefield may stretch for tens of kilometers, or even tens of kilometers. In any case, it's so big that it's beyond your imagination. Go. Be careful. Whoosh. Then several figures rushed in. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, the sky gradually brightened. The entire main battlefield was full of corpses. Corpses were everywhere, and the air was filled with the smell of fresh blood. The human reinforcements had arrived long ago, but the demonic beasts' reinforcements were even more exaggerated. The battlefield was gradually spreading to the inner part of Tianhua City, indicating that the human race was getting more and more unable to hold on. But a battle of this scale, millions of demonic beasts would add up to tens of millions. It was not something that could be settled in a few hours. Even if they could not hold on, they could still hold on for a while. This was not a problem. In fact, this was already the limit of the human race. They did not collapse directly because of the sudden attack of the demonic beasts. Relatively speaking, only a small number of demonic beasts entered Tianhua City, but a small number was not enough to make a difference. Only when the front line was truly lost and millions of demonic beasts poured in would it be a true fall. Lin Xian's level in this battle had already risen to the 5-star Thunder Tribulation realm. God knew how many demonic beasts he had killed. In any case, he was bombarding indiscriminately with lightning attacks. His vision was covered by sweat and possibly blood. Fortunately, Lin Xian was of the spatial attribute. He released the last of his remaining attributes and returned to a safe position to rest and recover his physical strength and spiritual power. Many others wanted to retreat, but could not do so because they could no longer turn back. Their bodies were completely powerless, but they had to be besieged by an unimaginable number of demonic beasts. This was cruel. Ling Longyue bit her lips and watched this scene from beginning to end. In the past she did not care, but now she was struggling. She really wanted to help. She really wanted to. She did not know how tormented her heart was. At this time, a powerful strength shot up from the horizon. It was an Empyrean powerhouse. It was clear that he had killed his opponent. With such a powerhouse, tens of thousands of martial artists would perish in the blink of an eye. Some people's pupils shrank when they felt this terrifying power. It was over. It seemed like there was no expert who could save them. Ling Longyue saw this scene and saw the area where the heavenly venerable realm demon Venerable was preparing to attack. In that area, Han Chushue and Ling Ying were still fighting. Then, Ling Longyue clenched her fist. Despicable ant, go to hell! Terrifying flames erupted from his body. Once the sea of flames was released, it was possible that 3,000 to 4,000 people would die instantly. It was over. Those people saw the terrifying sea of fire surging towards them, and despair filled their hearts. At this moment, a smaller figure appeared above their heads. With a stretch of her hand, all the flames were blocked and annihilated in the void. Everyone looked at the void in surprise. It's you. The heavenly venerable realm expert recognized Ling Longyue after seeing her. Void Fox, aren't you neutral? You were even a member of my Myriad Demon Alliance. Now, you're actually fighting for the humans. Have you forgotten that you're from the demon race? Wait for the judgment of the Myriad Demon Alliance. The expert said viciously. My friend is in this area. You almost killed my friend. So you must die. Whoosh. Then, Ling Longyue rushed up and the two figures disappeared from the spot. Actually, in order to protect Han Chushue and Ling Ying, Ling Longyue could have just used the power of space to bring them away. However, she did so with the excuse that her friend was there. In fact, she wanted to help but gave herself an excuse. In a short period of time, the two figures appeared in the void again. Ling Longyue kicked them down and killed a group of beasts. The heavenly venerable realm expert was dead. Thousand Bait Heavenly Prison. Ling Longyue's eyes flashed and rushed into the group of beasts. The Thousand Bait Heavenly Prison exploded and attracted countless beasts. Since she had made her move, there was no need to stop. Lin Xian also saw this scene and laughed. This girl. Lin Xian stood up and rushed into the battlefield again. In the battlefield, the few girls were very brave. To them, this was a very important experience. Chapter 593. Time passed again. Ling Longyue was held back by several demon race powerhouses, but Lin Xian was not worried about her safety. At this moment another change happened. Light flickered in the distance. Hundreds of thousands, millions of demonic beasts joined the battle again. Not good. The demon race has increased in numbers. Too fast. How did they manage to increase their numbers instantly? If this continues, we won't be able to increase our numbers in time. Tianhua City will be completely lost. Go. All of you go. Let this group of trash know that we're not easy to bully. Lin Xian revealed a solemn expression. No, it would definitely be lost. This whatever void heaven crystal would definitely be destroyed. Otherwise, if it was like this every time, the human race would completely fall. With another million demonic beasts increasing their numbers, the defenders of the three major forces were directly suppressed. Absolute suppression. I'm afraid we have to retreat. Morongqing appeared beside Lin Xian. Lin Xian looked at her. She no longer had her previous elegance. Her body was also covered in blood, and her clothes were somewhat tattered. Lin Xian told her about the Void Heaven crystal. Is what you said true? Lin Xian nodded. It should be. Morongqing muttered slightly. It's nothing if Tianhua City falls. We've already done our best. The casualties of the people have also been reduced to the limit. But if it falls now, there's no time to retreat. The casualties will reach millions. This is just this time. If it's as you said, the human race will really be in danger in the future. This Void Heaven crystal must be destroyed. Lin Xian nodded. I'll give it a try. Morongqing said. Lin Xian. Are you crazy? That's the Myriad Demon Alliance. And without the power of a heavenly venerable, you can't break the Void Heaven crystal. I'm a heavenly venerable. Morongqing looked at Lin Xian seriously. Lin Xian. He had underestimated her. All right, let's go together. You'll need me, do you believe me? Lin Xian said. Morongqing fell into hesitation. Lin Xian's eye of spiritual insight would definitely come in handy. A large number of heavenly void crystals had gathered. Lin Xian released his eye of cave spirit and was able to directly locate them. Wait, I'll go find another dark attribute or space attribute heavenly venerable realm powerhouse. That way, they can protect us as much as possible. No way. Morongqing denied it again. In the current battlefield, one less Empyrean is a huge loss for the human race. No way. Morongqing shook her head. At this moment, another million demonic beasts appeared. It's over. Morongqing's pupils suddenly shrank. He couldn't hold on any longer. Behind you. Lin Xian pointed in the direction of Yinhai County behind them. A few demons had snuck in behind them and set up a teleportation array there. Then, they saw a hole appear in the sky behind them, and a large number of demons were teleported behind them. They were being sandwiched. Wait a minute. Those demonic beasts ignored them and charged towards the direction of Tianhua City. Morongqing's pupils suddenly shrank. Not good. Then, she hurriedly said into her earpiece, a large number of demons are pouring into Tianhua City. Evacuate quickly. No, there are too many people. There are still more than 4 million people in the city. It will take at least a day to completely evacuate. Morongqing felt as if all her strength had been sucked out. Oh no. This heavenly void crystal teleportation had completely caught them off guard. They had no temper. It looked like they were guarding, but it was useless. Morongqing looked at Lin Xian and hurriedly said, Tianhua City has been completely lost. This spatial teleportation caught us off guard. There are still millions of people who didn't have time to evacuate. They can't hold on anymore. There's one way to destroy the heavenly void crystal, but it's definitely too late. At least Tianhua City won't make it in time. Lin Xian sighed. But it must be destroyed. As for the people, they can only hope that there will be more and faster reinforcements. Otherwise, they will all die. And this place must be defended. We can't let it go. Otherwise, countless demons will also pour in. Morongqing gritted her teeth. At this moment, a wormhole appeared in the sky. At first, Lin Xian thought it was another demon, but after he saw it clearly, he was pleasantly surprised. Above the void, 2 figures stood. After they appeared, they also looked shocked. How long has it been since we left? How did it become like this? Bing Lingyue frowned. Ling Longshui glanced down and saw that Ling Longyue was actually fighting for the human race. She didn't have any thoughts of blaming her. Hey, Xiao Linglong, little Bing Lingyue. Lin Xian jumped up and down on the ground, shouting and yelling at them. It was impossible to see in such an environment, but their perception was extremely strong. Whoosh, 2 people appeared in front of Lin Xian. Has the Myriad Demon Alliance attacked? Lin Xian nodded. Xiao Linglong, can you help us? Linglong Shui shook her head. No, I'm in the absolute void stage. I can't participate in the battle. Otherwise, it would be breaking the rules. The Myriad Demon Alliance will also have absolute void stage cultivators participating in the battle. At that time, the losses will be even greater. There's no need to fight. Lin Xian said. Your sister said that you can create a wormhole that connects 2 places, right? Linglong Shui nodded. Lin Xian pointed in a direction and said, there are millions of civilians there. They can't retreat in time. A large number of demon beasts are rushing over. Can you set up a wormhole and let them leave as soon as possible? Yes, location. Lin Xian was pleasantly surprised. Lin and city. You can go there and ask anyone. Ling Longshui nodded and then disappeared. Yes, she couldn't attack the demon race, but she could set up a wormhole and let the civilians leave as soon as possible. As long as there weren't many casualties, it was acceptable for Tianhua City to fall. Morongqing was surprised. Lin Xian said. She's in the absolute void stage. She can set up a large number of wormholes and let the civilians enter and appear in Lin City. As long as there are enough wormholes, a large number of civilians can leave Tianhua City in the shortest time possible without any transportation. That's great. That's great. Morongqing was pleasantly surprised. Lin Xian then looked at Bing Lingyue. Little Bing Lingyue, are you in the absolute void stage? Bing Lingyue shook her head. I'm just one step away. Just right. Thank you, Lin Xian. Bing Lingyue shook her head. Don't forget, I'm also a human. After that, she rushed into the distance. In an instant, the battlefield turned into a world of ice and snow. Hundreds of thousands of demon beasts were frozen and killed instantly. This was the combat power of a powerhouse on the battlefield. So powerful. Is she really in the heavenly venerable realm? Morongqing said in shock. She had seen too many heavenly venerables, but none of them were this powerful. Snow fell from the sky like goose feathers. Bing Lingyue was obviously chanting a big move. Above the void, her beautiful eyes suddenly opened. Snow swirled in the air. Any demon beasts that were touched by the snow and ice within a radius of dozens of miles were turned into ice sculptures. Chapter 594. Everyone was shocked. Bang! The ice and snow shattered and millions of beasts turned into nothingness. Everyone. This. Lin Xian swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Lin Xian had seen too many heavenly venerables. In this battle, there were also many demon clan members of the heavenly venerables realm. He had seen them kill tens of thousands of people in seconds. However, Lin Xian thought that was the limit. What kind of move was Bing Lingyue using? Millions of beasts were killed in seconds within a few dozen miles? Saint-level martial arts technique. It must be a saint-level martial arts technique. Only a saint-level martial arts technique can achieve such an effect. But a saint-level martial arts technique is a legendary martial arts technique. Morongqing's beautiful eyes widened. A heaven-level martial arts technique could topple rivers and overturn seas. A god-level martial arts technique was unparalleled. Above the god-level martial arts technique was the saint-level martial arts technique. That was a legendary existence. Even Morongqing had not seen it before. It was enough to show that there was almost no saint-level martial arts technique in this world. A saint-level martial arts technique, coupled with the ice attribute. A 10 stars heavenly venerables had achieved such an effect. Everyone was still fighting a second ago. And the next second, the battle was over. Millions of beasts were annihilated. However, in the next moment, a large number of beasts appeared again. They had just heaved a sigh of relief when the battle started again. Bing Lingyue's figure landed beside Lin Xian. She did not look too good. How are you? Lin Xian quickly supported her. Bing Lingyue said weakly, This is all I can do. Senior, you are already very heaven-defying. Thank you. Morongqing said respectfully. Millions of beasts were killed in seconds. No one could compare. It was really enough. This was also the first time Lin Xian had seen such power. He had seen too many heavenly venerables before, but he had never seen such a terrifying power. He did not know if Ling Longyue could unleash such power. This was the advantage of the ice attribute. The ice attribute was the strongest attribute in terms of area of effect. However, if Ling Longyue's space attribute could compress an area of tens of kilometers, she would be able to instantly kill so many existences. As for whether she could do it, Lin Xian did not know. It had to be known that this was only the 10 stars of the Empyrean realm. If one were to rise another star and reach the Great Void realm, then according to Ling Longyue, the difference in strength between the Great Void realm and the Empyrean realm would be 100 times greater. It was too exaggerated. What about the Heavenly Dao realm? Wouldn't the heavenly Tao realm transcend godhood? It was no wonder the Great Void Realm and heavenly Tao realm were not allowed to participate in the battle. On the other side, Linglong Shui arrived at the downtown area of Tianhua City. When she saw that the place she had lived in for a period of time and liked very much had turned into such a scene, she was quite touched and reluctant to part with it. It was as if her own home had turned into such a scene. Under such circumstances, once a large number of demonic beasts arrived, it would truly be a living hell. Whoosh! Linglong Shui asked about the general area of Lin and City, and then jumped through space. She set up dozens of wormholes, and arrived at the periphery of Tianhua City again. Many people saw her. After all, she was standing in the void, so she naturally attracted everyone's attention. Linglong Shui waved her hand, and a huge wormhole appeared in front of everyone. Everyone was surprised. What was this? Linglong Shui then injected her voice with spirit energy, allowing her voice to travel very far. This is a spatial wormhole. All you need to do is enter the wormhole, and you will directly arrive near Lin and City. Hearing Linglong Shui's words, everyone was pleasantly surprised. Thank you very much, Sister Immortal. Benefactor, you are our benefactor. Everyone quickly enter. Then a large number of people surged into the wormhole. After seeing this, Linglong Shui's figure disappeared and appeared in various places, setting up teleportation wormholes one after another. With these wormholes, it would not take too much time for these people to enter Lin and City. On the other side, Lin Xian and Morong Qing had already retreated to the back to discuss the matter of the heavenly void crystal. I can go with you. I have the time attribute, so I have relatively strong functions and self-protection abilities. You have the space attribute. If you say you can find the heavenly void crystal, then let's go. Where are we going? Bing Lingyue asked. Lin Xian told Bing Lingyue the general situation. I'll go too. Lin Xian shook his head. Forget it. You have a good rest. Your spirit energy is completely exhausted. Don't worry. I will let Linglong Yu follow you. But you are going to the Myriad Demon League. I have chatted with Linglong a lot these days, and have some understanding of the Myriad Demon League. It is too dangerous there. It's okay. The time attribute and space attribute heavenly venerables should not be too big of a problem. Moreover, we are not going to attack the Myriad Demon League. We will try our best to avoid encountering the members of the Myriad Demon League. Moreover, the attention of the Myriad Demon League is probably here. It should not be a big problem. Bing Lingyue nodded slightly, but she was still a little worried. Why don't we wait for Linglong? Lin Xian shook his head. No, it's better for her not to show up. Whoosh! Linglong Yu asked the few heavenly venerables, and then landed beside Lin Xian. Sister Bing, you are back. Linglong Yu said in surprise. Bing Lingyue nodded. Lin Xian then told Linglong Yu his idea. Of course, no problem. We can try. Then shall we go now? Yes. Lin Xian then said to Bing Lingyue. Lil Bing Bing, I will leave the safety of Chuxue and the others to you. Don't worry. Then, the three of them disappeared on the spot. When they reappeared, they were at a place Lin Xian had never been before. Linglong Yu stopped. Linglong Yu said, the location of the Myriad Demon League is still a few dozen kilometers away from here. This place is a few thousand kilometers away from Tianhua City. I may need to recover my spiritual power. After all, we are going to the Myriad Demon League. If my condition is not good, it will be very dangerous. Lin Xian nodded. Okay, then we will rest. Linglong Yu continued. There is no need to rest. We just need to hurry. My spiritual power will recover quickly. Moreover, we can only walk this part of the journey, because there are many experts in the Myriad Demon League. If I release my spatial power at this distance, I will be detected from afar. Okay. Then, the three of them quickly rushed in the direction indicated by Linglong Yu. What kind of place is the Myriad Demon League? Morong Qing asked Linglong Yu. Although she was in a high position, her understanding of the Myriad Demon League was close to zero. To be precise, the entire human race did not know much about the Myriad Demon League. They only knew that there was such a force in the demon race. This was because they could not go to that place, and did not dare to go there. Going there was courting death. No matter how strong an expert was, they would not go there. This was because there were experts in the Great Void Realm and Heavenly Tao Realm. Although they could not participate in the war, they could attack people. If they appeared in the Myriad Demon League, would they not kill them? Obviously, it was impossible. Chapter 595. What kind of place was the Myriad Demon Alliance? Even many existences in the demon race didn't know about it, but Ling Longyue had been there before. Of course she knew. How should I put it? The Myriad Demon Alliance is a pure organization of the demon race. It doesn't have an absolute base. The entire demon race is the headquarters of the Myriad Demon Alliance. The Myriad Demon Alliance recognizes people, not places. Today, this place can be the territory of the Myriad Demon Alliance. Tomorrow, it can be another place. Morongqing nodded slightly. This is very different from the human race. Lin Xian also said, yes, in a sense, the three major forces of the human race are like the Myriad Demon Alliance of the demon race. However, all three of us have an absolute base. In fact, I think the Myriad Demon Alliance is better. However, the Myriad Demon Alliance naturally needs a place where they can gather a large number of demon beasts. They also need a base, but for them, the base is not that important. Right now, a sub-base of the Myriad Demon Alliance is in a city that was captured by the human race more than 10 years ago. The entire city area belongs to the Myriad Demon Alliance. It's also the place where I went. The Heavenly Void Crystal has a teleportation effect, but the farther it is, the more difficult it is, and the more power it needs. However, it's different now. The base's significance to the Myriad Demon Alliance has changed because they need to guard the Heavenly Void Crystal there. Ling Longyue said. Lin Xian nodded. Yes, this thing is of great significance to the demon race. If they want to take down the human race faster, the Heavenly Void Crystal is indispensable. However, it's hard to say whether the Myriad Demon Alliance will send a large number of troops to guard the Heavenly Void Crystal this time. Morongqing said. There are two possibilities. One is that the demon race thinks that it's difficult for us to detect the Heavenly Void Crystal, so they may relax their vigilance. The fact has proven that without Ling Longyue, we wouldn't have noticed this. The second possibility is that because this is a very important thing, they will be more cautious when they use it for the first time. Lin Xian, if it were you, what would you choose? The latter. Lin Xian said. Guarding the Heavenly Void Crystal only requires a few more experts. It's a very simple thing. I think it will be more dangerous there to be on the safe side. Morongqing felt the same. So, we may have to be more careful. Now that the sky was beginning to brighten, it would be more difficult for them to take action. However, they couldn't delay it. Could they delay it until tonight? Impossible. By then Tianhua City had already ended. Perhaps this time, it wasn't for Tianhua City. It was to prevent such a situation from happening again, at least for the next few decades. Otherwise, it would only take a few months for the demons to launch their next surprise attack. No, in less than a few months. Tomorrow will do. Most of the demon clan's combat power was made up of monsters who didn't know what was good for them. They only knew how to follow orders and kill crazily. They could quickly gather in large numbers, but humans had their own thoughts and fears. The difference was too great. 2 hours later, the outline of a city appeared in front of them. This place had been away from humans for more than 10 years. It was surrounded by trees and all kinds of vines. The buildings that could be seen were also covered with green vines. Some of them even extended very far. To be honest, entering a city like this was like entering a ghost city. But this was a demon city. We're here. This is the current base of the Myriad Demon Alliance. As it is the closest to the human race, it can be considered their base camp. However, although there are many experts in the Myriad Demon Alliance, not many are willing to stay here every day. They will go to various places to seek breakthroughs, continue to seek opportunities, or go to places with rich heaven and earth spiritual power to cultivate. That's what I know. But I'm not sure what it is now. Lin Xian nodded, and then opened the eye of Cave Spirit. The Eye of Cave Spirit was very powerful in that it could see the direction of the heaven and earth spiritual energy. The Eye of Cave Spirit could see where the heaven and earth spiritual energy was denser, or where the heaven and earth spiritual energy changed from weak to strong. What Lin Xian needed was this change. A large number of void heavenly crystals gathered in one place. Perhaps it was difficult for them to sense it with their perception, but the Eye of Cave Spirit could definitely see it. They just needed to find the direction and go over. After opening the Eye of Cave Spirit, Lin Xian saw a large amount of heaven and earth spiritual power gathering in front of him. If there were ordinary heaven and earth spiritual treasures, the fluctuation of heaven and earth spiritual power would be very low. But in his line of sight, the fluctuation of heaven and earth spiritual power was extremely high. This basically confirmed Ling Longyue's thoughts. Front left. The distance is not certain, but it shouldn't be too far. Lin Xian said. Morongqing was very surprised. How did this kid come to this conclusion? She could roughly sense that the heaven and earth spiritual power there had increased slightly, but this was not enough for her to conclude that it was the location of the void heavenly crystal. However, since she had followed, Morongqing chose to believe in Lin Xian. With the space attribute and time attribute of the Empyrean realm, they should have the ability to protect themselves. Let's go. Following which, the three figures quickly rushed into the city, then concealed themselves in small alleys and slowly moved forward. One had to know that this place was equivalent to the experts of the demon race, secretly sneaking into the area where the human race's divine temple was located. This was probably the case for them now. Therefore, even if they could travel faster, they had to move forward in the slowest, most cautious and safest way. They did not dare to release their divine senses. Why? Because once one released their divine senses, as long as there were demon venerables around that were stronger than them, they would be able to sense their divine senses. This also meant that they had been exposed. There was a point in not releasing their divine senses, and that was that they would not know the situation around them immediately. For example, if there were any demon beasts in the dark that had discovered them. However, most of the demon beasts that lived here had probably gone to Tianhua City to fight, so there were not many of them. Moreover, they did not dare to release their divine senses, but Lin Xian could release the Eye of Cave Spirit. The Eye of Cave Spirit was also very effective in detecting danger in advance. It's right in front. Half an hour later, they arrived at a place closer to the center without any fear. The houses here were much cleaner than the edges, and there was no moss climbing up the tall buildings. What did this mean? It meant that there were traces of a large number of people living here. There was a cleaning. There must have been a large number of demon race that had taken human form living here before. The three figures quietly poked their heads out from behind a broken trash can in a small alley. Heavenly Void Crystal. Ling Longyue's beautiful eyes lit up when she saw what was in front of her. Lin Xian also saw it. In front of them was a plaza surrounded by supermarkets, shopping malls, and movie theaters. Surrounding this plaza was enough to show that this used to be a prosperous place. Above the plaza, a large number of dark blue crystals were releasing power. Chapter 596. That was the Heavenly Void Crystal. There were big ones and small ones. The big ones were a few meters long while the small ones were only a few dozen centimeters long. However, when their power was gathered together, sometimes the power would suddenly surge into the sky and open up a wormhole. A wormhole was probably opened somewhere, allowing a large number of demon beasts to enter and appear in Tianhua City. It's a bit difficult. Morongqing frowned and said. Currently, they couldn't see a single demon beast in this plaza, but it didn't mean that there weren't any in the surroundings. The plaza was very spacious. As long as one person from the surrounding buildings looked over here, they would be discovered as soon as they appeared in the plaza. And destroying this Heavenly Void Crystal obviously couldn't be done in one move. It would take time. In other words, in the current situation, as long as they had the thought of destroying the Heavenly Void Crystal, they would definitely be discovered. They weren't as lucky as before. What do you think? Morongqing asked Lin Xian. Although she was stronger than Lin Xian, she didn't know why. but she inexplicably felt that Lin Xian was their backbone. Do it. Lin Xian gritted his teeth and said, definitely do it, but do we just do it like this? Morongqing asked. What else can we do? Should we go back? Anyway, we already know the location. Why don't we invite stronger experts to destroy this place? Lin Xian said. We can do that. Morongqing nodded. They didn't have much confidence. Since they knew the location, it was obviously the best choice to seek help from stronger experts. Let's go. Just as they turned around and were about to leave, they suddenly found a person standing behind them. It was a very thin middle-aged man. His face was unimaginably pale, as if he was a dead man. He stuck out his tongue and licked his lips, revealing a bloody smile. Our luck is really good. Such a beautiful human girl. The taste of her blood must be very sweet. His eyes flickered as he looked at Morongqing. They were discovered. His first reaction was to let Ling Longyue release her spatial attribute, to send them away quickly. But his second reaction was, no way. If they hadn't been discovered, it would have been fine. It wouldn't have mattered whether they had escaped or not. However, if they had been discovered, the price they had to pay for their escape was that the Myriad Demon Alliance would definitely move the Heavenly Void Crystal to an unknown place. Moreover, they would be more vigilant in protecting it. By then, it would be almost impossible for them to find the Heavenly Void Crystal again and destroy it. One city after another fell into the enemy's hands. The human race was in great danger. Ling Longyue, can you block it? Lin Xian asked softly. Sure, it's just a heavenly venerable level vampire bat. Ling Longyue nodded. Good. Let's go and destroy the Heaven Void Crystal. Lin Xian's decision was very decisive. He had to do this. Whoosh. Following which, the three of them split into two different directions. Lin Xian released his spatial energy to send himself, and Morongqing directly to the place where the large number of Heavenly Void Crystals were located. As for Ling Longyue, she directly rushed towards the Demon Venerable. The battle was about to begin. Their appearance attracted a lot of attention. Boom. Morongqing went all out. Her powerful strength directly bombarded the Heaven Void Crystal. I need time. My attribute isn't suitable for causing destruction, Morongqing said as she attacked. Yes, if she had the Thunder attribute, it would definitely be much faster. However, although Lin Xian had the Thunder attribute, the difference in strength was too great. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Figures appeared around them one by one. They were all heavenly venerables and domain realm powerhouses. Lowly human, you still want to destroy the Heaven Void Crystal? You're courting death. A heavenly venerable level demon venerable roared. A thundercloud appeared in the void above and thunder roared. Morongqing, time stop. Lin Xian shouted and then teleported over. At the same time, Morongqing, who was attacking the large number of Heaven Void crystals, cooperated with Lin Xian to release time stop. She was a heavenly venerable. Even if she was not as strong as the other heavenly venerables, she would still be able to maintain time stop for a little while. Ding! You've exchanged for obedient spray. That's right. Lin Xian had exchanged for the obedient spray from the second merchant center. This was their only way to turn the tables. It was true that Lin Xian could not defeat them, but he had methods that these people did not expect. The cooperation of space and time had reached the pinnacle. When Lin Xian appeared in front of the Heavenly Venerable, he happened to be stopped by time stop. He stood there motionless. Just a moment was enough. Sizzle. Sizzle. Lin Xian's obedient spray was directly sprayed at him, and he threw it out with a flip of his hand. Then, another obedient spray appeared, and it teleported in front of another celestial venerable powerhouse. Then another obedient spray appeared. Morongqing did not dare to delay for a moment. She attacked crazily with terrifying strength. When she looked back, she wondered what Lin Xian was doing. Why was he using a water gun to fire at a heavenly venerable and domain realm powerhouse? He was crazy. Was this why he wanted her to release time stop? Within 2 seconds, Lin Xian had taken control of 4 people. This was already the limit. If he did not have the space attribute, he would only be able to control 1 person. The 3 of you block the others. You, help attack the void heavenly crystal. Lin Xian naturally ordered the first demon venerable with the thunder attribute to attack the void heavenly crystal. Yes. Of the 4 people controlled, 3 participated in the battle, and 1 helped attack the void heavenly crystal. With the terrifying power of the thunder attribute, the power created by the void heavenly crystal was directly shattered by the thunder. This was the use of attributes. Time was very strong, right? But no matter how strong you were, you could not compare to the destructive power of the thunder attribute. Each had its own merits. No matter how strong your thunder attribute was, you could not stop time. Morongqing was dumbfounded. What was going on? Why were they fighting on their own? And there was even a heavenly venerable helping them. That spray? Morongqing was going crazy. How many jaw-dropping things did this Lin Xian have on him? She had seen spray that could control people or make them faint. It was normal. But damn, this was a heavenly venerable. How could he control a heavenly venerable? Who would be able to withstand this? How much longer? Morongqing said as she attacked. We just broke the power barrier created by the void heavenly crystal. If we want to destroy all the void heavenly crystals, even if I attack together with him, it will take at least a minute. Can he still be controlled for a minute? Lin Xian shook his head. I don't know, but... Then Lin Xian threw 5 bottles of obedient spray to Morongqing. Spray him every 10 seconds. Morongqing. Lin Xian looked around. 1 minute was only 60 seconds. It was very, very short, but... In the surrounding sky, one terrifying power after another rushed over. One after another, heavenly venerables rushed over. And... the Great Void Stage. If it was only the heavenly venerables, it might still be possible, but there were still the Great Void Stage. You're courting death. An old man roared, and turned into a shocking flame in the sky, bombarding Lin Xian. Come here. Lin Xian controlled a heavenly venerable powerhouse, who flew directly in front of Lin Xian, and released power to block for him. Then he was insta-killed. This was the power of the Great Void Stage. Die. Chapter 597. The Great Void Stage was indeed the Great Void Stage, too strong. No matter what realm it was, Lin Xian could not beat it. Run. That's right, his first reaction was to run. But how could he run? Block it for me again. Another heavenly venerable was controlled. He released all his strength and life force to block this attack. Whoosh! At this moment, Ling Longyue appeared beside Lin Xian. Run! Ling Longyue hurriedly said. Lin Xian gritted his teeth. Morongqing, go. Soon. You guys go. Now. Morongqing gritted her teeth. Soon. Go, we'll talk about it later. Lin Xian roared. They had tried and failed, but there was nothing they could do. However, they could not die. This Great Void Stage was only of the fire attribute. If they were to leave, they would not be able to stop it. If another demon venerable of other attributes came, it would be over. Time stop. Morongqing released a terrifying time force and controlled all the heavenly venerables. However, the Great Void Stage was completely useless. Ling Longyue, bring us away. All right. Then Ling Longyue released her space force. However, what's going on? Ling Longyue's pupils suddenly shrank. Why was it useless? Void Fox, it seems like you've betrayed my demon race. A voice was heard, and then dozens of figures appeared beside them at the same time, surrounding all of them. Dozens of Great Void Stage. Was this the Thousand Demon Alliance? The one who spoke was a woman. Not good. It's the Purple Lightning Martin. She also knows the Space Force. Although she can't compare to me, she's of the Great Void Stage. We can't run. Ling Longyue's face was pale. I didn't expect this little human to dare to destroy the Void Heavenly Crystal. Do you think it's enough with the help of the Void Fox? Just a little bit more, just a little bit more. An old man sneered. Kill them, don't leave the Void Fox alive. A heaven-defying force condensed. The sky above, which was originally clear, suddenly turned dark and a vortex appeared in the sky. All kinds of forces condensed, giving off a feeling of doomsday. This was the force condensed by a group of Void Stage powerhouses. Puff! Lin Xian spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to one knee on the ground. The pressure. He could no longer bear it. It's over. He had been too careless. It was his fault. He had overestimated himself and underestimated the myriad demon alliance. No, he wanted to give it a try. Perhaps everyone wanted to, but it was his choice. In the Great Void stage, Ling Longyue's space energy and Morong Qing's time energy were all useless. What else could he do? Roulette. Lin Xian shook his head. It was useless. The roulette wheel could not produce something that could allow them to escape from the power of dozens of higher void stage cultivators. Space. Time. It was impossible. Even the two people beside him couldn't do it. What else could he count on? Lin Xian slowly closed his eyes. She was unwilling and guilty, but there was nothing she could do. I'm going to die. I'm going to die before I've even started dating. F***CK. Morong Qing was very unwilling, but there was no other way. She glanced at Lin Xian. Ling Longyue was also looking at Lin Xian. If there was only one higher void stage cultivator, they could still try to fight or escape. But with dozens of them, it was useless. With such overwhelming power, not to mention Lin Xian, even Ling Longyue would be killed. All of them attacked. I'm sorry. Lin Xian closed his eyes and murmured. Various scenes appeared in his mind. Ling Ying, Han Chuxue, Linya, Miao Xiao Miao, Wang Xintong. Lin Xian couldn't bear to part with any of them, but he could only say goodbye. He had tried his best and regretted it. No, in a sense, he didn't regret it. If he could do it again, he would try his best to destroy the heavenly void crystal. Perhaps after experiencing death once, Lin Xian could accept it more easily, but he was even more reluctant. It's okay. I did it willingly. I can't do anything about it. Morong Qing took the initiative to hold Lin Xian's hand. Boom! The few of them closed their eyes. A terrifying power surged over. Lin Xian felt that he would be reduced to nothingness in the next second. However, just as everyone was prepared to welcome death, they heard the sound of the power exploding around them. The aura surged at them from all directions, but it did not cause any damage. Lin Xian and company opened their eyes. Above the void stood a woman in a white immortal dress. Sister. When Ling Longyue saw Ling Longyue, she nearly cried. Lin Xian smiled. He never expected this girl to come at the most critical moment. Ling Longyue had released her spatial attributes, diverting all the power to her surroundings. In other words, their power had struck her. Ling Longyue was unable to resist them, so her spatial powers were of little effect. However, Ling Longyue was different. She was already at the Great Void Realm, and was even half a step into the Heavenly Tao Realm. At the very least, no one could compare to her in spatial powers. The Void Fox was the strongest expert in spatial powers. No other race or creature could compare to the Void Fox in terms of spatial attainment. Ling Longyue landed beside the three of them just like that. Xiao Linglong, you saved my life. Lin Xian said excitedly. Initially, they thought that they were going to die. They really thought that they were going to die. However, who would have thought that Ling Longyue would be 1 second late, and they would be dead? Yet she really came in time. I owe you a favor. Now we're even. Ling Longyue glanced at Lin Xian and said simply. Then, her beautiful eyes looked at the myriad demon alliance. Void Fox, what is the meaning of this? The old man pointed at Ling Longyue and said angrily. You all wanted to kill my sister first. What do you think this sovereign means? All right. You Void Foxes have chosen to side with the humans, right? Then, don't blame us Fae for falling out with you and questioning you. That's right. This was what Ling Longyue and Ling Longyue were worried about. It didn't matter if they remained neutral, but once they helped the humans, it meant that they were enemies with the Myriad Demon Alliance. In the future, they would be in danger. In the beginning, it was Ling Longyue who openly helped the humans attack the Fae. Now it was Ling Longyue. They had no way out, and it could be considered as giving them a reason. They didn't feel particularly conflicted. Then, let's see if you have the strength. Ling Longyue's petite body blasted out a terrifying power, suppressing them. Do you think my Myriad Demon Alliance doesn't have a Heavenly Tao Realm expert presiding over it? From the horizon, a power that Lin Xian had never felt before surged at him. Was this the power of the Heavenly Tao Realm? Linglong Shui had no plans on attacking them. Every second she delayed meant an additional second of danger. Let's go. With a flip of her hand, Linglong Shui easily crushed the Heavenly Void Crystal. The Heavenly Void Crystal was completely destroyed, following which, all of them disappeared from their original positions. Since that was the case, they might as well shatter the Void Heavenly Crystal. When the experts saw the Void Heavenly Crystal shatter, their pupils constricted. Void Fox. Void Fox. I want all of you dead. Chapter 598. The members of the Myriad Demon Alliance did not expect that the human race would discover the Heavenly Void Crystal in such a short time. Secondly, they did not expect that the human race would dare to come here and destroy the Heavenly Void Crystal. Of course, without the help of the Void Fox, not only would they not be able to destroy it, but they would also all die here. Thirdly, they did not expect that the Void Fox would help the human race. Lin Xian and the others appeared in the wilderness. Linglong Shui's expression did not look good. Sister, what's wrong? Linglong Shui quickly ran over to support Linglong Shui. Lin Xian and Morong Qing also hurried over. Linglong Shui shook her head slightly. I'm fine. I just used too much spiritual power. She had used up a lot of spiritual power to open so many teleportation wormholes in Tianhua City. In order to let the people of Tianhua City move faster, she had set up more wormholes. It was not a problem for her to set up a few of them, but setting up dozens of them would definitely consume a lot of spiritual power, even if she was in the Great Void stage. Then, she had used the spatial attribute to transfer everyone's shocking attacks. They did not attack Lin Xian and the others. Instead, they attacked themselves. It seemed simple, but it had to be known that this was the power of dozens of Great Void stage cultivators. How powerful would it take to use the spatial attribute to transfer all their power? It was reasonable that she had used up all her spiritual power. This was the first time Morong Qing had carefully observed Linglong Shui. This woman's beauty, temperament, and strength shocked her. Was she a Void Fox? Wasn't she too noble and beautiful? How did Lin Xian know such an existence? And it seemed that they had a good relationship. I'll support you. Lin Xian walked over. No need. Linglong Shui said. This bastard just wanted to take advantage of her. Go away, you scoundrel. Linglong Shui was protected by Linglong Shui. She was only slightly weak, but she could still walk. Morong Qing opened her mouth slightly. This Lin Xian dared to take advantage of this woman? Are they that close? Lin Xian smiled bitterly and suddenly thought of something. By the way, what's the situation in Tianhua City? Linglong Shui said. The demon race has completely invaded Tianhua City, but I opened dozens of wormholes. They have basically retreated. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. Tianhua City could be abandoned for the time being. It could fall, but the civilians could not suffer too many casualties. Linglong Shui saved them. Thanks. I'm just returning your favor. Linglong Shui said softly. Then, Linglong Yue brought them back to Tianhua City. They stood on top of a tall building and looked at the dense demon beasts and the members of the three major forces who were retreating. Lin Xian sighed softly. The city that they had lived in for so long still couldn't hold on in the end. But fortunately, the casualties of such a sudden attack didn't reach a terrifying level. It was beyond everyone's imagination. Logically speaking, the casualties of such a sudden attack should be almost the entire city of millions of civilians. Relying on the quick defense of the three major forces and the wormholes opened by Linglong Shui, they could safely retreat. If not for Linglong Shui, the three major forces wouldn't have been able to hold on, and millions of civilians would still have died. Tianhua City can only do this. Although the casualties are still very serious, fortunately, the Heavenly Void Crystal has been destroyed. In the future, it will be difficult for the demon race to gather together for such a sudden attack. It can be considered to be stable for a while. Lin Xian sighed. Thank you, Senior. Morong Qing cupped her fists towards Linglong Shui. Although they seemed to be about the same age, Morong Qing knew that the Heavenly Void Fox and the demon race must have lived much longer than her. Moreover, she was stronger. There was nothing wrong with calling her senior. Ling Longshui looked at Mo Rongqing. The girls around Lin Xian were all so beautiful. It's fine, Ling Longshui said softly. Go back and rest. This is all we can do for now. The three major forces have also retreated. Lin Xian said to Ling Longshui. Ling Longshui nodded, and then looked at the wormhole in the distance. Do we still need to stay? Lin Xian nodded. Stay. There are still many members of the three major forces who haven't retreated. Help fix the landing point at this point. I believe that the three major forces must have countless experts guarding the other side of the landing point. Even if the demon beasts rush in, they will be killed instantly when they go out. Moreover, they can't enter in large numbers. If we don't stay, the others won't be able to retreat immediately. Let's stay for a few more hours. Ling Longshui nodded, and then they entered the wormhole together. When they reappeared, they were outside Linen City. Outside Linen City, many members of the three major forces had gathered. Most of the citizens had already rushed into Linen City. It was basically over. In the end, the human race had lost. However, in some ways, this didn't meet the expectations of the demon race. They didn't lose too badly. Lin Xian. As soon as Lin Xian went out, he met Ling Ying, Han Chuxue, Miao Xiaomiao, Wang Xintong and Bing Lingyue. They were very worried because they knew what Lin Xian was going to do. That place was too dangerous. Fortunately, they came back safely. Lin Xian walked over and said, Go back and rest. I'm fine. Why don't you rest? Lin Xian said, Rest. Let's go together. They had done all they could. Now that they were going back to sleep, they felt relieved. Then they all walked away. Lin Xian. A voice called out to him. Uncle Qin. Lin Xian looked at Qin Feng in surprise. Qin Feng's clothes were a little tattered. It was normal. After all, he had participated in an intense battle. Qin Feng walked over and patted Lin Xian's shoulder. I thank you on behalf of the citizens of Tianhua City and the three major forces. You have saved everyone once again. Lin Xian scratched his head in embarrassment. It's not me. It's them. Qin Feng then bowed. Thank you. Mo Rongqing said. You all go and rest. Leave this to me. Qin Feng. The wormhole can still be maintained for a while. There must be many citizens who haven't made it in time, or don't know the news. They might not even be able to come. Bring a team of people who are in good condition into Tianhua City again. Find the citizens who were left in the suburbs and bring them back. The safety of the citizens is the most important. Yes. Lin Xian looked at them and said, Let's go and rest. Then they entered Linen City. The sudden influx of millions of people in Lin and City was a little troublesome. Accommodation had become a problem for the time being. However, the three major forces would arrange temporary accommodations for them. As for their temporary accommodation, it was the Rose Paradise Hotel. This seemed to be the first time everyone was staying in one place. This feeling seemed to be pretty good. Chapter 599. Wang Xintong didn't have a family, so it didn't matter where they lived as long as they could follow Lin Xian. Miao Xiaomiao's grandfather also came to Linen City. Linen City was the city behind Tianhua City. If they retreated, they would definitely retreat to this city. Miao Xiaomiao was also staying here for now. Tomorrow, she would probably go back to live with her grandfather in the Linen City Bounty Hunter Guild. Han Chuxue and Ling Ying didn't really care about it. They could always buy another house if they didn't have enough money. Lin Xian also needed to buy a new house. It didn't matter where Ling Longyue and Ling Longxue lived. They could live here for the time being. Little Xian. After telling Linya that he was safe, Linya ran over worriedly and hugged Lin Xian the moment he arrived at the entrance of the hotel. He didn't know when Xiao Runing had returned, but she had been staying with Linya all this time. Lin Xian smiled and patted Linya's back. It's okay. Didn't you come back safely? It's broad daylight, and there are so many people around. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at? Linya then let go of Lin Xian and looked at everyone. Everyone quickly looked away as if they didn't know anything. I'm going to take a shower. I'm covered in dust and beast blood. It's so dirty. Ling Ying said and walked away. I'm going too. Han Chushua followed her. Then they all walked away. Do you all want to eat after taking a shower? I'll get the hotel to prepare food for everyone. Linya said to them. Then we'll have to trouble Sister Linya. Just like that, a day passed. Everyone slept very deeply. After fighting for a whole day, everyone was tired. What was happening outside had nothing to do with them. The next day, they played around in Lin City and familiarized themselves with the place. This was where they would live in the future. Lin Xian was now a 5-star lightning tribulation realm cultivator. Han Chushue and Ling Ying had also reached 5-star lightning tribulation realm. Miao Xiao Miao and Wang Xintong had successfully reached the lightning tribulation realm. After all, they had killed too many beasts in a day. 7 days later, everything had basically returned to normal. Most of the people had settled down. Lin City could be considered to have reached a peak. The 3 major forces wanted to praise Lin Xian, but Lin Xian didn't like to show his face in public. This matter was suppressed, and everyone returned to their own lives. Ling Longshui, Ling Longyue, and Bing Lingyue spent money to buy a 3-bedroom apartment. Just like in Tianhua City, they lived in the city. Their actions were equivalent to becoming enemies with the 10,000 Demon Alliance. They were no longer neutral, and stood on the side of the human race. They didn't care. They also liked the life of the human race. A large part of it was probably because of Lin Xian. Han Chushue lived in her own home in Lin City. The Han family's business was very big. With the Han family's business in the city, they could easily get a house. Ling Ying was the same. As for Xiao Runing, she seemed to like being a teacher. She directly went to Lin City's St. Brilliance Academy to be a teacher. Miao Xiao Miao continued to live in the Bounty Hunter Guild. Wang Qianqian and the rest, as well as the entire Gale mercenary group, were all here. Wang Xintong lived in the Sacred Palace. After all, she had Qin Feng as her master. It wasn't too troublesome. Lin Xian wanted to continue living with Ling Ying and the rest. But how should he put it? He was embarrassed. Did you know that feeling? He, Ling Ying, and Han Chushue were well aware of it. However, the others, including Linya, didn't know. Previously, they lived together because of safety concerns. Now that they changed places, living together again? That didn't make sense. However, it wasn't a problem. Everyone lived close to each other. As for Lin Xian and Linya, of course, they bought a house in Lin City. It was beautifully decorated and cozy. Lin Xian didn't do anything this week. He just played with them. Actually, nothing had changed for them. It was just a change of location. Lu Yufan and Yi Yi's family also lived in Lin City. The 2 girls also went to St. Brilliance Academy to continue learning from Xiao Runing. Their strength was relatively weak. They were still in the learning phase. Morongqing also stayed in Lin City. She probably wanted to build a good relationship with Lin Xian, or develop a business. Perhaps it was also because she liked this kind of life. She didn't have to work every day. For Lin Xian, the next few days were to develop his business. Now that Tianhua City was gone, he had finally calmed down. He had done all that he could, and he had a clear conscience. Another week later, Lin City had completely calmed down. After all, half a month had passed. For Lin Xian, there wasn't much progress in this half a month. He was just playing around and taking advantage of girls. However, this damn Ling Longshui and Bing Lingyue's mission deadline was only a month away. This was very worrying. Linya started working at the Art Xian Corporation, which was the Art Xian building. They had already recruited more than 100 employees, IT elites, etc. It was very easy to recruit employees at this time. This was because millions of Tianhua City citizens had entered Lin City. Among these people, there were quite a few elites. This was considered a chance for Lin Xian's company. Linya was very surprised. She hadn't seen Lin Xian for a while. In such a short period of time, he already had a company of such scale. At this moment, Lin Xian and Morongqing were in one of the factories. A group of people were gathered there. The equipment had already arrived, and the materials had been transported in large batches. Lin Xian was personally working while Morongqing and the other workers stared at him without blinking. Earth Spirit Flower, Purple Water Caltrip Grass, and Jade Marrow Liquid were placed into the equipment. The equipment adjusted the grams and automatically divided the grams. Then, the final product was directly put into a small glass bottle. Lin Xian took it out. It was a colorless liquid. That's it? Morongqing asked in surprise. Lin Xian nodded, and then passed it to Morongqing. Do you want to try? Morongqing shook her head. Forget it. I'm afraid I'll be poisoned to death. Lin Xian. This was the first one to make it. Who knew if it would work? Damn. Earth spirit flower and purple water caltrip grass are ingredients for medicine. They are not poisonous. What are you afraid of? Lin Xian rolled his eyes at her. Okay. I'll try. Then, Morongqing took it and drank a very small amount without any hesitation. Ding, your physique plus 10. Morongqing's beautiful eyes suddenly lit up. How is it? Chapter 600. Morongqing looked at Lin Xian. Although she was already prepared, she still felt that it was unbelievable. Drinking such a little thing could increase her attributes. Wasn't this too exaggerated? Although the increase in attributes was very little to her. But to be honest, even if it was just a little, why would anyone give it up when they could get it for free? It's done. Morongqing said faintly. Lin Xian smiled. Let's try the mental cultivation fluid. Morongqing quickly said. Lin Xian nodded, then changed the formula of the mental cultivation fluid and handed it to Morongqing. Wait, you seem to be whoring for free. Lin Xian suddenly realized something. Hee. Morongqing laughed, then hurriedly snatched it and drank it directly. Ding, your spirit plus 10. Morongqing's little mouth was wide open. In some ways, this 10 points of spirit was much stronger and more precious than 10 points of physique. How is it? Yes. Morongqing nodded. Then prepare for mass production. Lin Xian smiled. 2 days later, the major factories began to mass produce the physique modification liquid and the mind cultivation liquid. In Linen City, more than a dozen shops had already started to renovate 10 days ago. Now the renovations were almost done. It was just a simple renovation for the purpose of selling the medicine. Lin Xian wanted to see how effective it was. If it was successful, then he could open shops in all the major cities, and even create other industries. No, he could sell the things that everyone else was selling. However, with the mind cultivation liquid as a gimmick, other businesses wouldn't be too bad. And Morongqing used her own power to spread the news, which indeed attracted countless people's shock and disbelief. They thought it was fake, because it was impossible. How could there be something like medicine that could permanently increase attributes after eating it? But even so, it still attracted the attention of countless people. The people were paying attention, the 3 major forces were paying attention, the major families, and the 8 major families were paying attention. They all knew that if it was true, it would bring a lot of benefits. They might even be affected by it. On the morning of the 5th day, thousands of people arrived at the Art Pavilion building. Some of them came from other cities, and even the empire. There were also the 8 great families of Tiandu, and the great families of Linen City. They all wanted to see if this was real or fake. This was a press conference held in the Art Pavilion building, and it was broadcasted live across the entire continent. It was only natural that this move would attract the attention of the entire planet Aqua Blue. This was also the first time Lin Xian wore a suit. The lobby of the Art Pavilion building was very spacious, and it was normal for it to accommodate thousands of people. The entire lobby was filled with delicious food and drinks. The reporters, the leaders of the various great clans, and even the people from the 8 great clans who had secretly come over were all chatting with each other. They had no choice but to pay attention to this matter. If it was true, being able to cooperate with such a startup company was simply making money. They had to grasp the real news as soon as possible. Not bad. Ling Ying nodded slightly when he saw Lin Xian in a suit. Nonsense, don't you see how handsome I am? Lin Xian said smugly. Come on, you are far from the word handsome. Ling Ying said in annoyance. Han Chushua chuckled at the side. They were also wearing beautiful clothes. After all, they were participating in Lin Xian's home ground. Even if others didn't care, they would care. I'm hungry. Can I go out and eat something delicious first? Ling Longyue pouted, and looked at Lin Xian expectantly. Sure, go and eat. Be careful when you eat. Humph. Ling Longyue then pulled Miao Xiaomiao's hand, and the two girls ran out together. They were both beautiful little girls, and after interacting with each other, they found that they were quite compatible. Then they became good friends. Ling Longshui and Bing Lingyue also walked out slowly to eat. Lin Xian, we will also go out first. Lu Yufan waved to Lin Xian, and then walked out with Yi Yi and Wang Xintong. Their parents were also here. They were very satisfied with Lin Xian, and even had some respect for him. Your sister is nervous. Xiao Runing looked at Linya, and said with a smile. Lin Xian looked at Linya and smiled. It's okay, it's just a small scene. Linya said, my own company has been established for a long time, but I have never experienced a press conference like this. Moreover, Sister Morong made it a global press conference, and these two potions have a lot of attention. Hundreds of millions of people will watch. Today, there are many big families, and even people from the 8 big families of Tiandu. Linya was really nervous, because Lin Xian had indeed helped the 3 big forces a lot. Other than Morong Qing, the 3 big forces helped Lin Xian to publicize this matter for free. Of course, the 3 big forces also wanted to collect a lot of potions, but Lin Xian didn't agree. Of course, he could sell them all at once, but Lin Xian didn't want that. He wanted the public. Only by serving the public could Lin Xian gain support and people's hearts. Only then could he further develop his own force. If he sold everything to the 3 big forces, Lin Xian would only get money. It's okay. There will be a lot of situations like this in the future. You are my little fairy. I have to rely on you. Lin Xian said with a smile. Linya took a deep breath and nodded. Don't worry, there shouldn't be a problem. Kid, you have become a big boss. A few months ago, you were my student who needed my protection. Now it's your turn to protect me. Xiao Runing smiled helplessly. Hee, Miss Xiao, why don't you resign and work for me? I'll give you the position of vice president. Xiao Runing rolled her eyes at Lin Xian. Forget it, I still prefer to be a teacher, and you are no longer in the category of a student. Work hard. I'm going out to eat. I've been busy with you all for the whole day, and you don't even give me a salary. Xiao Runing said deliberately. Miss Xiao, we'll go with you. Ling Ying and Han Chushua also walked out together. Today was Lin Xian and Linya's home ground, and they were all here to eat. Oh right, the other executives of the Art Xian group haven't been confirmed yet, right? Linya said, I pulled a few senior executives from my previous company over, and they are very willing to come. They have been following me since the beginning. Well, I just don't want you to be so tired, but only you and I can trust. Linya nodded slightly. It didn't matter if she was tired, but she was afraid that she would mess up Lin Xian's matter. But under normal circumstances, this matter wouldn't be messed up. As long as the 2 drugs were real, it would be fine. Lin Xian looked at the time and said, It's about time. Let's go to the press conference. Then they walked out. Chapter 601. At this moment, thousands of people were chatting in the lobby of the Art Pavilion building. When Han Chushue and the others walked out, they immediately attracted everyone's attention. It wasn't a secret that they had a good relationship with Lin Xian, but in their eyes, they were just schoolmates and friends. No one would think that way. After all, the news hadn't spread. Normally, no one would think that they might have some other kind of relationship. A press conference turned into a party for them. All kinds of beauties and handsome men chatted with each other, eating, drinking and having fun. Chushue, a long time no see. I heard that you fought with demons in Tianhua City. Is there any problem? Ouyang Jing held a glass of red wine, and smiled as he walked towards Han Chushue and Ling Ying. Then he asked with a worried face. Han Chushue turned her head and glanced at him. His arrival wasn't anything surprising. Apart from them, there were also people from the other 8 great families of Heaven Capital. Although those who came might not be important figures, Han Chushue recognized a few of them with a glance. Although she wasn't familiar with them, there was no lack of domain realm and heavenly venerables among them. It was enough to show how much importance they attached to this event. It's nothing. Han Chushue said indifferently. That's good. Ouyang Jing smiled bitterly. When he saw Han Chushue dressed up to attend this event, he was jealous. Damn it. In Heaven Capital, she wouldn't participate in these events at all. Here, not only her, but also Ling Ying and the others were following Lin Xian. He was really jealous. F***ck. How could this Lin Xian? Then, his gaze fell on Linglong Shui and Bing Lingyue in the corner. To be honest, he had never seen women of this level in his life. Today he was incomparably stunned. Admittedly, Han Chushue and Ling Ying were very beautiful. But compared to them, in terms of men's desire to conquer, they were completely incomparable. These two women would make any man of any age crazy. Even he didn't dare to go over and talk to them. He couldn't figure out who these two women were. Since when were there such women in the continent? He really wanted to go over and talk to them. But in the end, he didn't dare. He really didn't dare. Moreover, he was surrounded by the 8 great families. He didn't want to become a public enemy at this time. Liao Jian naturally attended this event. He didn't expect Lin Xian to be so powerful. He actually wanted to do this. Even he had never heard of something like this. Was it really possible? He didn't quite believe it. But if it wasn't true, why would he dare to hold such a press conference? Moreover, so many big shots had come. One had to know that if he was a fake and so many big shots had come, then he would be finished. No one would be so stupid. Of course, that might not be the case. Because his actions had indeed won the attention of the entire continent. There was a gimmick. Even if it was a fake, he would only be cursed. But if he gained the attention of the entire planet Aqua Blue, it was a different concept. He could gain a lot of attention. Just like some famous trolls on the internet, they would do all kinds of things. No matter how bad their character was, there would still be people who would believe and pay attention. Moreover, he was also jealous. He had thought that Lin Xian would never be able to compete with him. He had even helped out with the factories and shops. However, it was impossible for him to attract the attention of the 8 great families of Tiandu. This Lin Xian, on the other hand, had actually attracted all of them. They had even sent people here. Of course, if he did something similar, he could also attract them. But the most important thing was that he hadn't even gotten his hands on Morong Qing. He hadn't even touched her hand. Instead, he had helped her with a lot of things. Of course, he wasn't stupid. Of course, he could tell something was wrong. But it was only in hindsight. Damn it. These two people were deliberately using this method to make use of him. Therefore, Liao Jian was jealous of Lin Xian. He hated Lin Xian, but he didn't show it. He couldn't show it for the time being. But the grudge between them was formed. At this moment, Lin Ye and Lin Xian walked out. Suddenly, the crowd rushed up to them. The 8 great families, and the people from other families also looked over. It was Lin Ye's first time seeing such a scene. She would be lying if she said that she wasn't nervous. Although she used to be a CEO, everyone was the same. They would be nervous if they had never experienced something like this before. Lin Ye was no exception. However, she felt much more at ease when she saw Lin Xian holding hands with her. Lin Xian and Lin Ye stood in front of the stage. What the hell? Ouyang Jing said disdainfully. It was disgusting that such an unpresentable person could attract the attention of the entire continent. Chief Lin, I heard that you just bought the art courtyard building, right? We know a little about you. May I ask if you bought the art courtyard building with a loan? Chief Lin, are these 2 kinds of medicine that can permanently increase a warrior's attributes real? We all doubt its authenticity. Yes. After all, even the 3 great forces didn't mention such a thing for many years. How could a student like you develop such a thing? Can you tell us more about it? Everyone, please be quiet. Lin Xian looked at the crowd's chaotic appearance. Some of them even smiled and said something through the microphone. Everyone quieted down. They were surrounded by a group of reporters. Around them were various big families and famous people. They also quieted down. Since they were here, it proved that they were curious and doubtful. They were also waiting for Lin Xian's answer. Of course, at least for now, they looked down on this kid. Lin Xian then said with a smile, I'm just a bystander. If you have any questions, ask my sister. She will answer all of you. Of course, you have to ask one by one. Don't worry, everyone can ask. Every topic about the art courtyard building and this press conference will be answered. Lin Xian directly threw the topic to Linya. She would definitely experience these things often in the future. On the camera, everyone's eyes were on Linya. Then Lin Xian ran off. Everyone. This Lin Xian is too evil. He just left Sister Linya there alone. Ling Ying said helplessly. Sister Linya has to get used to it. Han Shushua said softly. Lin Xian stood beside Xiao Runing and the others. Then Lu Yufan and Yi Yi ran over. Miao Xiaomiao and Ling Longyue were also there. Your sister is so pretty. Xiao Runing said with a smile. Miss Xiao is pretty too. Lin Xian smiled. Go away. Xiao Runing rolled her eyes at Lin Xian. You're so shameless. You even dare to flirt with Miss Xiao. I really don't know who in this world you don't dare to flirt with. Lu Yufan mumbled. Lin Xian smiled and said, as long as it's a girl I dare. Chapter 602. Morong Qing listened to their conversation from not far away, and the corners of her mouth curled up. This Lin Xian was really amazing. Not only did he have so many beautiful girls around him, but he also had a very good relationship with them. Most importantly, as an outsider, she seemed to realize that almost everyone had a good impression of Lin Xian. At this time, the reporters began to ask questions. Everyone's attention shifted from Lin Xian to Linya. This was a global live broadcast of the press conference. It could only be done to this extent because of the support of the three major forces. This was the first time in history. In the past, the three major forces would only hold a press conference of this scale when there was something particularly important. Even the strongest families in Tiandu or other empires would not be able to hold a press conference of this level. This was also something that surprised everyone. Did Lin Xian have a powerful background? Impossible. Even if it was powerful, it could not be more powerful than the 8 major families. How could he do it? In fact, it was very simple. It was because Lin Xian had conquered the human race that the 3 major forces were willing to help him. He was qualified to do this. Of course, Morong Qing had also done a lot of things. When the live broadcast showed Linya, the entire planet Aqua Blue was boiling. This was the boss. This was the boss of the Yixian group? Damn, wasn't she too beautiful? She was simply a perfect goddess. The kind that one would fall in love with at first glance. God knew how many admirers Lin Ye had across the entire continent, with just a little bit of screen time. Her beauty was absolute, and with her status as a boss coupled with her beauty, it was even more amazing. Linya said, ask them one by one from left to right. This press conference is to answer everyone's questions. Everyone will have a chance, and I will answer them carefully. Boss Lin, I remember that your previous company had an annual income of tens of millions. As far as I know, this Yixian building alone is worth more than 30 billion. May I ask if you bought it with a loan? Linya said, it's because of a friend of mine. She is also one of the shareholders of the Yixian group. She invested in the Yixian group. Then why didn't she come? I'm here, but I just don't want to show my face in public. This question doesn't have much to do with this press conference, right? Next question. Boss Lin, I've heard about the existence of a potion that can permanently increase a martial artist's attributes as early as 2 months ago. May I ask if it was personally developed by you? A reporter asked. Linya nodded, then looked at Lin Xian, who was not far away, and said, it was developed by my younger brother. I'm sure many of you know him, but he was just a test subject in the past. It's only now that he's decided to establish the Art Xian Corporation and do mass research. Then Boss Lin, may I know the effects of your company's product this time? This was one of the points that everyone paid the most attention to. Everyone listened with great anticipation. Linya replied, the effect is very simple. There are a total of 2 kinds of medicine. The effect is to increase a martial artist's physique and mental strength. Boss Lin, how much can it be improved? Each bottle of physique can increase by 5 points. Every martial artist can use it 5 times before it loses its effect, so it adds up to 25 points of physique. As for mental strength, It also adds up to 5 points. Every martial artist can use it 5 times, so it adds up to 25 points of mental strength. Linya's answer became more and more casual. She was also slowly adapting to this kind of environment. Everyone was stunned. Boss Lin, it's only a total of 25 points. Such a small amount doesn't seem to have much effect. Aren't you worried that people won't care and buy it? Linya chuckled, then said, Then let me ask you, if you were given a chance to increase your physique and mental strength at a price that isn't too high, would you choose to buy it? Yes, I would. Then there's no need to worry about this problem. Linya glanced at everyone, then said, These 2 kinds of medicine didn't exist before. If a martial artist wants to increase their attribute power, other than increasing their level, they can only use rare treasures of heaven and earth. And these treasures of heaven and earth can only be found by chance. It's already very good if 1 out of 1,000,000 people comes across one. Now that the Yixian group has given everyone such a chance, I don't think this is a problem to worry about. Boss Lin, since you said that the price won't be too high, then can I ask in advance, how much are these 2 kinds of medicine sold for? Linya said, 1 bottle of physique reforming medicine is 1,000 yuan, and 1 bottle of mental strength reforming medicine is 10,000 yuan. Everyone exclaimed, a permanent upgrade would only cost this much? It seemed that the price was not high for a permanent increase in attributes, but the total price if sold in large quantities was very high, so there was no need to worry about making money. Moreover, Lin Xian wanted to build a reputation so that he could build his own power in the future. Why is the mental strength reforming medicine 10 times more expensive than the physique reforming medicine? Linya said slightly, as everyone knows, every martial artist will increase their attributes by a fixed value when they increase their realm, but mental strength is an exception. I don't need to say more about the effect and importance of mental strength. Mental strength is determined at birth, and the value increased by one's realm varies from person to person. Basically, it will be less than other values, so in terms of rarity, mental strength is rarer and more important. Naturally, the price will be more expensive. I believe that most people will choose to buy it for 10,000 yuan, to increase their mental strength by 5 points. Especially for low-level martial artists, I don't need to say more about the effect. Boss Lin, you've said so much but we're just listening. What's important is to see it. Can you let us personally experience the authenticity of the mental strength reforming medicine and physique reforming medicine? I think this is also what everyone is concerned about. Is this thing that transcends time real? Linya nodded. Of course, no problem. Then, Lin Xian walked up with a few bottles of reagents in his hand. Everyone looked at him. These are the mental strength reforming medicine and physique reforming medicine. Originally, it was a strength injection, but now I've changed it to oral. The effect is the same, and it's in a blue bottle. As for its authenticity, you can all come up and try it for free. Let me. Then, a group of reporters ran up and received the medicine. Lin Xian looked at the big shots of the other 8 big families and said, Everyone, you can all try it for free. They were a little worried, but after thinking about it, they couldn't possibly be openly harming people, right? Then basically everyone received 1 or 2 bottles and took it on the spot. Chapter 603. This was what everyone was paying attention to. Whether it was real or not, they would know immediately. When each of their numbers increased, they believed that this was real. Everyone revealed a shocked expression one after another. This epic-making thing was really born. Lin Xian looked at them with a smile. How is it? It's really real. Lin Xian smiled. Of course it's real. Those from the 8 great families and the other families panicked. Why? Because they seemed to be witnessing the birth of an existence that could rival their families. Obviously, at least in terms of financial resources, it would reach the level of the 8 great families in the future. Previously, they couldn't imagine that someone could surpass them. But now it was possible with just this. But if it was just financial resources, it didn't matter. After all, without strength, they wouldn't be the 8 great families. At the Han residence, Zhao Yaji nodded with satisfaction as she watched the live broadcast. Not bad. He can actually create such an epic-making thing. He only needs time. At least we don't have to worry about his financial resources. Our daughter's taste is not bad. Humph. Han Chushua's father didn't look too good. Even if it's real, I don't like this kid. Zhao Yaji smiled and said, I say, hubby, the child's happiness is the most important. Moreover, this kid is really not that bad. Let's not talk about other aspects for now. At least in our Tiandu, which of those young talents that you think highly of can do this? Then I'm not happy either. I know you're angry that this kid cheated our daughter away without saying a word. But if what he does in the future is worthy of our daughter, then you can calm down. Han Chushua's father said coldly, I want to see him. Let our daughter arrange it. Moreover, with this relationship, our Han family can cooperate with this kid on this project. It can also raise our status among the 8 great families again. On the other side was the Ling family. Qin Lan was originally quite satisfied with Lin Xian. After seeing this scene, she was even more satisfied. This is amazing. This kid has only been gone for 2 months, and he has already created such a thing. I say, hubby, it's all because our daughter has raised him well. Qin Lan smiled and said. Ling Ying's father looked at the young man in the camera with an ugly expression on his face. To be honest, daughters were always close to their fathers. It couldn't be said that they favored girls over boys. As fathers, they really preferred their daughters. They had been pampered since they were young. Seeing their daughters being cheated away by other boys, the one who felt the most upset was not the mother, but the father. Send someone to Lin City, and call this brat to Tiandu. I want to see what's so special about this brat to be able to trick my daughter away. If you're not satisfied, I'll kill you directly. Lin Xian still didn't know that he had already been targeted by the heads of the Han and Ling families. If it was just one family, it would be easy to handle. But if it was 2 families, it might just blow up. What I want to say is that this kind of thing can't be fake. I also hope that everyone can use it without worry. Of course, each type can only be used 5 times. Remember, if you use it too much, it will lose its effect. Then it won't be our fault. Lin Xian looked at the crowd and said, although these thousands of copies added up to a lot of money, it didn't matter. It wasn't important. Only when they could distinguish the real from the fake would others dare to use it. Chief Lin, we've confirmed the authenticity of this, but now there's another question. Has your Yixian group reached an agreement with the 3 major forces? Otherwise, why would the 3 major forces help you broadcast the entire Planet Aqua Blue's press conference live? There's another point. Even if something is mass-produced, there must be a limit. Not to mention this kind of thing. How much can your Yixian group produce now? Is it because you're cooperating with the 3 major forces that these 2 drugs will be distributed to the 3 major forces first? And ordinary warriors like us won't be able to buy them? Is this the reason for this? Obviously, this reporter asked the question that was on the minds of the people watching the live broadcast at this stage. At this time, Linya said calmly, don't worry about this. Our Yixian group hasn't reached a unilateral commercial agreement with the 3 major forces. I also need to clarify something here. The Yixian group won't reach a unilateral agreement with any family or force. Our intention is to target everyone, the 5 empires and thousands of cities. What we hope is that everyone with the ability has the opportunity to buy the 2 major drugs. Of course, it's relatively difficult at this stage, because there are too many people in demand. Even if we mass-produce them, there will be a limit. After pausing for a moment, Linya continued. First, we will sell them in Lin City. Lin City has already opened more than a dozen shops, and everyone can buy them there. After that, we will expand to the entire Hua Nation and slowly infiltrate the 5 empires. As of now, we can mass-produce about 200 million copies. Even if one person buys 10 bottles of 2 drugs, it can only serve 20 million people. Of course, this is only in theory. In reality, it's estimated that it can serve more than 50 million people. However, this is only the first batch. If the results are good, we will start the second batch of production and sales as soon as possible. The 3 major forces will also have to go through the proper process to purchase them. 200 million copies seemed like a lot, but in reality, it was only enough for a few tens of millions of people to buy them. Sky Blue Planet had the ability to buy more than a few billion. Therefore, it wasn't that Lin Xian wasn't good enough, it was that he wasn't good enough. However, this was definitely an unlimited business opportunity. There would always be people who would grow up and need it. Then we can rest assured. At this time, a female reporter suddenly thought of something and asked, "Oh right, President Lin, I heard that you also have a drug that can increase a warrior's attribute purity, right? Isn't this for sale? I believe that this drug will be more popular than the other two drugs. Even if it can only increase 1%, for many strong people, this 1% is a huge increase." Linya looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian smiled and said, "Yes, it can indeed increase attribute purity." Everyone exclaimed. Then Lin Xian continued, "However, everyone knows how difficult it is to increase attribute purity. Although we have successfully developed this drug, we can't mass produce it. In fact, the reason is very simple. Every drug has its own formula, and it's the same for the attribute enhancement drug. However, the formula for the attribute enhancement drug is too rare, and it's destined that it can't be mass-produced. At the same time, through this press conference, I would like to ask everyone for the 9-colored Spirit Lotus and 9-star Rainbow Berry. If there are any, we will purchase them at a satisfactory price." President Lin, aren't you afraid that the formula will be leaked? Chapter 604. Was he not afraid that the formula would be leaked? To be honest, even if an ordinary person had the technology, they would not dare to produce it on a large scale, because the formula would definitely be leaked. It did not matter if someone stole it, or bought the formula to search for it themselves. Of course, the latter was difficult. The former could be done by sneaking into the factory. Moreover, with such a monopoly, the medicine would definitely be targeted by everyone. No one dared to think about it before, but now that someone could do it, others would want to do it too. Lin Xian chuckled. "Since I dared to do this, I'm not afraid of others stealing the formula. You can buy the medicine and research it. Also, you can come and look at my factory. Just don't mess it up, or I'll be looking for trouble." Lin Xian's words shocked many people. He was not afraid. So what if they knew the formula? They did not have the chalcedony liquid. So what if they stole the chalcedony liquid? At most, they could only produce a small amount. They could only rely on stealing. At this time Lin Xian stretched. "All right, today's press conference is almost over. Everyone should have asked what they wanted to ask. Let's have lunch here. Our Yixian group will naturally cover everyone's lunch. I wish everyone a good appetite. We're going to have lunch too. Oh right, let's talk about the sales time of the two types of medicine. The sales will officially start at 8 a.m. the day after tomorrow. Come and buy it with your ID card." After that, Lin Xian walked away with Linya. Click click. Liao Jian secretly clenched his fist. "You still want to open for business? You two tricked me, and you still want to open for business? I'll let you know that I, Liao Jian, am not someone you can mess with." This matter had already become the trend. He could not stop it even if he wanted to. However, he needed time. As long as there was not enough time, it would not be able to threaten his position as the business tycoon in Lin and City for a period of time. Moreover, he could play tricks. He had an advantage, which was that the medicine was in high demand. However, there was also a disadvantage, which was that he was only selling it in Lin and City. If the store, the factory, and everything else were destroyed, he would have to start all over again. F***CKU. He was furious. Whether it was the factory, the store, or even the Art Xian building, they were all his. Damn it, he had helped them all. At noon, Lin Xian brought all the people he knew, including Han Chuxue, Ling Longshui, and Morong Qing, to a huge gathering. This seemed to be the first time that all of them had gathered together. The table was full of beauties, all kinds of beauties, and only Lin Xian was a man. It was simply amazing. It was just that. Lin Xian didn't know if they were in cahoots or something. But they all chatted with each other, and ignored Lin Xian. But Lin Xian didn't care. He wanted to proudly say that one day, all the people sitting here would lie down and pout for him. He really had nothing to do for the past few days. Actually, it wasn't really that bad. He had put all his effort into the Art Xian group. Although there might not be any problems, it was related to all of Lin Xian's future plans. On the second night, Lin Xian successfully sneaked into Linglong Shue's house to eat. Linglong Shui, and Bing Lingyue were all his mission targets. This Linglong Shue's favorability had reached dead. It was really not easy. Linglong Yu's favorability had reached 42. Bing Lingyue didn't know for now, but Lin Xian felt that it shouldn't be low. Lin Xian, I want to eat noodles. Can you go downstairs? Linglong Yu sat on the sofa and swung her little legs. Then, she looked at Lin Xian and asked, Lin Xian, go away, I am a guest. You want a guest to cook for you? Humph. Linglong Yu pouted and snorted. Isn't your company going to officially start operations tomorrow? Why are you still here? Linglong Shui passed Lin Xian an apple and asked indifferently. I don't miss you guys. Lin Xian grinned. The three girls, hooligan. Linglong Yu rolled her eyes and ate the fruit fiercely. It was as if she was biting Lin Xian. Bing Lingyue smiled. She liked to watch them bicker, especially Lin Xian. She didn't know why she liked to watch silently. Wife, I haven't seen you in a while. Did you miss me? Ding. Felt Linglong Shue's anger. Prince Charming points plus 100,000. That's right. Linglong Shue's expression was a little strange. Why was this Lin Xian getting more and more unscrupulous? What was he calling her now? Shut up. Linglong Shui shouted. What's wrong? Lin Xian scratched his head. Linglong Shui frowned. She was really beautiful. God. He once had this woman. Wasn't he too invincible? Don't talk nonsense in the future. Their relationship was already very good. Linglong Shui was like Linglong Yu in the past. She wanted to kill Lin Xian, but now, don't talk nonsense in the future. She felt like she couldn't do anything to Lin Xian. Hey, you promised to be my wife. Linglong Shui looked at them from the side and quickly ate the fruit. She wanted to beat him up. She really wanted to. No. Linglong Shui said coldly. Wow. Don't be so shameless. Linglong Shui sat down. I only said I would give you a chance. Don't twist the truth. That's right. You still want to have improper thoughts about my sister. Tui, how can a lowly human be worthy of my Void Fox clan? Linglong Yu glared at Lin Xian and said, Lin Xian. Lin Xian couldn't be bothered with Linglong Yu anymore. Even though they were both mission targets, Lin Xian's attention was clearly on Linglong Yu. Between a goddess of this level and a beautiful Lolita, Lin Xian would definitely choose Linglong Yu. Linglong Yu was someone who had no breasts and no buttocks. How could she be more interesting than Linglong Yu? Then my dear Xiao Linglong, will you do me the honor of going out for a meal and watch a movie with me tomorrow night? Lin Xian grinned and looked at Linglong Shui. I won't do you the honor. Linglong Shui said coldly. Hey, look at you. You said you would give me a chance to pursue you. I am indeed pursuing you. But you rejected my invitation to a meal and watch a movie. Is that considered giving me a chance to pursue you? Linglong Shui frowned. That seemed to make sense. She looked at Linglong Yu and Bing Lingyue. One shook her head, and the other nodded with a smile. All right. Linglong Shui could only reply softly. Lin Xian revealed a happy expression. This was the first time he asked Linglong Shui out for a meal and a movie alone. That's right. After knowing each other for so long, this was the first time. They had done so many things together for a meal. But this was the first time they had done it alone. He was a little excited. He didn't know what he could do. Chapter 605. Linglong Yu did not know what to feel when she saw that her sister had agreed. Firstly, she was unhappy. That was her sister. She was so beautiful and had so many admirers. How could she go on a date with a human? How could a human be worthy of her? Secondly, she was disappointed. It was as if someone was fighting with her for something she liked. It was as if someone was going to snatch it away from her. Okay, I'll pick you up tomorrow night at 6. I want to go too. Linglong Yu mumbled. Go away. Don't mess around, little brat. Linglong Shuyu pouted her lips. Ding. Feeling Ling Longyue's resentment, Adonis points plus 100,000. Sister, don't let him take advantage of you. That bastard is very bad. Don't you think so, Sister Bing? Ling Longyue said. Ling Longshui and Bing Lingyue nodded. Lin Xian touched his nose awkwardly. He suddenly thought of something. All right, you guys went to look for the parchment scroll. How is it? Ling Longshui nodded. We found it. The 4 parchment scrolls have been combined into one. Then did you guys go to the place marked on the parchment scroll? The location marked on the parchment scroll was the forbidden area of the Void Fox clan. It could be a forbidden area or an unknown place. However, Ling Longshui was certain that there was a huge secret hidden within. It was related to the extinction of the Void Fox clan and the death of her parents. She really wanted to know what happened during those years. What kind of place did they go to, and why did they never return? Ling Longshui shook her head. No. Why? Bing Lingyue said. The place marked on the parchment scroll is a place that we can't go to. Not even the virtualized stage. Lin Xian was shocked. To be precise, it's not that we can't go. We just lack a key. Ling Longshui said. Key? What's there to be afraid of? The power of the great virtual stage can just directly smash the door into pieces. What's the point of opening the lock? Ling Longshui. Bing Lingyue was speechless. It wasn't his fault. It was because he didn't understand. Ling Longshui explained to Lin Xian in detail. That place is known as the secret of planet Aqua Blue. Not to mention the Great Void Realm. Even the Heavenly Tao Realm can't break in. Without the key, no one can enter. Even the power of space is helpless. Many experts know of that place, but they don't know its exact location. I didn't expect the location of the parchment scroll to be there. There's such a thing. Lin Xian pricked up his brows. There was still a place on planet Aqua Blue that even Heavenly Tao Realm and spatial elemental powers could not enter. Did it require a so-called key to enter? What kind of place is that? Lin Xian asked out of curiosity. Ling Longshui said. Rumor has it that it's a second world, a parallel world to planet Aqua Blue. It's another planet Aqua Blue, where countless people and fey beasts from another world live. There are also rumors that it's a void world, but there exists a realm that surpasses the Heavenly Tao Realm. It might be the realm of shattering the void, but no one has ever entered it. No, my parents, the Void Foxes, and perhaps many experts from back then have entered it, but they all died. Lin Xian frowned. Shattering the void? Is that true? He needed that place. If it was another world, a parallel world to planet Aqua Blue, could it be Earth? Lin Xian was very curious. What's the key? Lin Xian asked. The key? Ling Longshui hesitated for a moment before looking at Lin Xian. Then she said, rumor has it that the key to that place is a weapon. Perhaps it looks like a weapon on the surface, but it's actually a key. As for what kind of weapon it is, I'm not sure either. Perhaps others know. But at the very least, I know that one should not attempt to enter without reaching the Heavenly Tao Realm. Why? Back then I knew that my parents, as well as many experts, were at the Heavenly Tao Realm. However, they never came out again. If a Heavenly Tao Realm expert perishes here, perhaps only those at the Heavenly Tao Realm with 10 stars are qualified to enter. Ling Longshui said with a slight shake of her head. Heavenly Tao Realm. Lin Xian pondered slightly. At the very least, he knew that there was a place that could allow him to return to Earth. As long as there was a place with a sliver of hope, that was enough. The most terrifying thing was having no hope. As long as there was a sliver of hope, there was nothing to be afraid of. But having no hope at all was the most despairing thing. Lin Xian believed that since he came from another world, there had to be a way to return. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to come at all. Since he could come, there had to be a way. Even if it was impossible, there was still a way. Sister, how far are you from the Heavenly Tao Realm? Asked Ling Longyu. 1 step. Ling Longshui said softly. Isn't that about to advance to the Heavenly Tao Realm? Asked Lin Xian. Ling Longshui shook her head. It's been 30 years since I took this step. The bottleneck is just too profound. Perhaps I'll need another 100 years before I can take the next step. That terrifying? Lin Xian gaped. What do you think? We Fei do have longer lifespans, but cultivation is harder. Ignoring 100 years, From what I know, numerous fae take thousands of years to advance to the heavenly Tao realm. It's even possible for them to take 10,000 years. Sister, a conservative estimate of 100 years is already heaven-defying, all right? Linglong Yu rolled her eyes at Lin Xian. However, what he said made sense. 100 years was just the concept of a year in a human's lifespan, to a fae at her level. Then if you advance to the heavenly Tao realm, will you head there? Asked Lin Xian. Linglong Shui shook her head. Firstly, I don't have the key. Secondly, I'm not confident. After all, I have learned my lesson. Before I reach the heavenly Tao realm's 8 stars, I might not attempt it. Although she knew it very well, she did not dare do so. Of course, it was not because she was afraid of death. If she had the key, she would head there on the first day she reached the heavenly Tao realm. However, she had a younger sister that she could not let go of. If she were to head there, she would most likely die. She could not leave her younger sister behind alone. Her strength might seem all right, but she was unable to do anything to those at the Great Void Realm. Furthermore, they had a feud with the Myriad Fae Alliance a few days ago. If she were to die, she would truly be worried for Ling Longyue. Furthermore, Ling Longyue was someone who loved to stir up trouble. It's best if that's the case. I'm really worried that you might one day take things too hard and head there. Lin Xian shook his head secretly. He was also very worried. That won't happen. Linglong Shui said nonchalantly. That's good. I'm leaving. I wanted to freeload a meal from you. But now, you won't even let me have a meal. You even want me to cook for you. Sigh, I'm sad. I'm leaving. Following that, Lin Xian left. Chapter 606. Tomorrow was an important day. The 2 major potions would be on sale. At the same time, it was also Lin Xian and Linglong Shui's first date alone. For some reason, he was looking forward to the latter. The former was obviously more important. Perhaps it was because Lin Xian was not worried that the business would be bad. The next morning, Lin Xian and Linya both woke up early. They were quite excited, especially Linya. She was even more nervous than Lin Xian. Lin Xian had thrown such a big business to her. She was afraid that she would not do well. Morning, little fairy. Lin Xian yawned as he walked out. He was not used to living without Ling Ying. Linya had already prepared breakfast. It was only 6 o'clock. The sky was still dark outside. After all, it was late autumn. It was already November. Sometimes it would even snow in November. Let's eat breakfast. After that, we'll go take a look at the store. Lin Xian nodded and sat there. Linya had already prepared everything. I wonder how the business will be. Linya was worried. Lin Xian smiled. What do you think it will be? Linya said. There should be a lot of people, but I'm not sure how many. Hopefully it will achieve the desired effect. Don't worry. If there aren't many people, I'll cut off my head. Lin Xian smiled. Although he was nervous, he was not nervous. If such a thing did not attract many people, then the game would be over. That was impossible. Okay, I'll go change first. Linya was so nervous that she did not have the appetite to eat. She hurried back to her room. Lin Xian rolled his eyes. After about a minute, Lin Xian quietly walked over. Linya was not wary of Lin Xian. She closed the door but did not lock it. She opened it with a light twist, and then, ah! Linya's scream was heard. Ding! Felt Linya's shyness. Prince Charming points plus 500,000. Ding! Did something bad. Prince Charming points plus 1 million. These Prince Charming points were a bit exciting. Get out! Quickly get out! Linya's face was red as she covered herself with her clothes. This scoundrel. Lin Xian grinned. Hee hee, little fairy, we don't have a third wheel like Ling Ying. No, get out of here. Linya said. Hey, Lin Xian snickered, then closed the door and walked out. Linya let out a long sigh. What was she going to do? This scoundrel was getting more and more impudent. He clearly knew that she was changing, and yet he still came in. Although they had done it very much before. But no matter how many times they did it, she would still be nervous and shy. Lin Xian was deliberately teasing Linya. She wouldn't get angry anyway. Moreover, she got more than 1 million Prince Charming points. Now that Lin Xian used more Prince Charming points, Her Prince Charming points increased. This was good news. After 2 minutes, he ran over again. Xiao Xianyu. Linya covered herself. Her face that had just slightly recovered reddened again. Ding! Felt Linya's shyness. Prince Charming points plus 100,000. Little fairy, hurry up. Otherwise, the breakfast will get cold. Lin Xian grinned and reminded her. I know. Linya lowered her head and whispered. I'll give you 5 more minutes. If you don't come out in 5 minutes, I'll personally help you choose your clothes. Lin Xian smiled and walked away after saying that. It really worked. 3 minutes later, Linya walked out in a very beautiful office lady uniform, looking like a strong woman. Of course, her face was still red. You're not allowed to dress so beautifully in the future, Lin Xian said. Linya was stunned. You're my little fairy. You're only allowed to dress so beautifully in front of me. You can wear normal clothes in front of others. Linya. Although it was very domineering, Linya was inexplicably happy when she heard it. Perhaps this was what women were like. I know. The main thing is that today is very important. Lin Xian nodded. So I forgive you. Hurry up and eat. It's getting cold. You should change first. The food is getting cold. Okay. After the meal, the two of them walked out under the first glimmer of dawn. There were several Yixian group stores, less than a kilometer away from them. After all, it was the city center. It was normal to open a few stores here. Linya was very nervous along the way. Although it was said that the official sale would start at 8 o'clock, with the strength and preciousness of this medicine, it was normal for people to line up early, afraid that it would be sold out. Therefore, she was worried that if this scene did not happen, it would really be a failure. At this time, there were not many people on the road. It was different from summer. When they walked to the street, the scene in front of them made Linya slightly stunned. On the entire huge street, many of the other stores were not open yet. Only the breakfast stores were open. But even so, it was a relatively quiet time. The entire street was densely packed with people. How many people could a prosperous street accommodate? There were tens of thousands of people, but it was almost full now. No shop would have such a scene when it was about to open. Even if it was a supermarket opening, and there were free eggs, there would only be a few dozen people. It would never be like this. Linya opened her small mouth. Lin Xian smiled and said, they must have all come to line up in advance to buy. Linya then showed a surprised expression. Originally, she expected to be satisfied with thousands of people lining up. But at this time, it had reached the scene of tens of thousands of people lining up. It was simply too exaggerated. Some reporters were also very concerned about the effect of the opening day. They had already come early to film. When they saw this scene, they were also surprised. But after thinking about it, it seemed to be normal. After all, if the sales of these two medicines did not achieve such a situation, it would be a little difficult to say. It's very successful. Morongqing was also very concerned. She had come early, and was very satisfied to see this scene. Then, she saw the two people on the street, and walked over with a smile. Not bad. In half an hour, I'm afraid the surrounding streets will be full. Lin Xian smiled and said, sure enough, we can earn money by following Boss Lin. Morongqing smiled. Let's go and see the other stores. The other stores naturally had the same scene. It could be considered to have broken the record of this industry. Those people held their ID cards and were ready to move. They were very nervous, afraid that they would not be able to get it if they were late. They did not know how many medicines were on sale now. The streets of Lin and city that had Art Xian Group stores presented an unprecedented spectacular scene. Not far away, Liao Jian saw the scene and his face sank. I want to see if you can open for business normally. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.